Charlene Maudsley winning a fantastic women's 400 metres in 51, I think it was 51.6, wasn't it? And then a terrifically competitive women's 5,000 metres between two European champions, current European 3,000 metre steeplechase champion Luisa Geiger out-sprinting the 2018 European 10,000 metre champion Lorna Salpeter. And those were great events, and there was plenty of others as well. But we're very quickly underway with the action here, and we're looking at Stephanie Krumplovsky, the shot putter from Luxembourg. She'll be in action. She'll be swapping one end of the stadium for another, because she's also in action in the discus, which is coming up a little bit later on. Katlin Primai of Estonia. Now this is the Lithuanian Urte Baisianskaite. Mijana Dasovic of Serbia. Representing Cyprus, we have Thrasavolupu, Paraskevi Thrasavolupu, Monika Majova from the Slovak Republic, perhaps one of the less heralded throwers here, Anna Gulbe of Latvia. So good representation from the Baltic countries. Now the former world indoor champion Anita Martin, only thrower to have gone over 19 metres in her career this year. Mikhaila Petrakova of Bulgaria. Iona Diana Tignasu of Romania. Maria Larina of Ukraine. Ukraine, of course, one of the favourites for the 3 promotion slots at the end of 3 days of competition. Thea Jensen and the Croatian Lucia Leko. This is going to be a tough event for the Croatians. They'd like to get into the top 3, but they could have a royal battle on their hands. Veronika Domjan of Slovenia. Then 16th woman to throw will be Emma Soleil Gunnarsdottir. Now Gunnarsdottir has improved this year to 17.92. The Icelandic team are looking for big points from Gunnarsdottir. We'll bring you a lot of the shot putting, just as we did this morning. We hope you were with us this morning to watch the opening morning of the 3rd division. The 3rd division of this year's reformatted European Athletics Team Championships. It's all taking place over the course of 1 week. 3rd division takes place on the first 3 mornings, the 2nd division on the first 3 evenings, and then we go into the 1st division with the big guns of European athletics. As we look at these women, I think this is a moment to bring in Hannah. Hello, Hannah. You're stuck at the end of the table there.
Good afternoon, Phil. Now, I'm delighted to be here this afternoon, get this 2nd division underway. It could be really competitive on the team side. We're really looking to Ukraine to get promoted. There are a few teams, you mentioned Ireland this morning, that were demoted because of having to miss competing due to COVID restrictions. Ukraine is similar, so they're very much looking for promotion, but they're going to have a tough battle from Slovenia and maybe Hungary as well. So every event counts, all the points matter, and the athletes really will know that.
Yeah, so the first women into the shot put circle, it is Krumplovsky, 4 times national champion, twice in the shot put and twice in the discus, and as I said, she will be throwing in the discus as well a little bit later. Luxembourg, well, they got promoted under the old format from the 3rd division to the 2nd division and hung on to their place in this newly reformatted 2nd division. One of the smaller nations amongst the 47 competing here. Nevertheless, they've got some good athletes, notably in the women's distance race, and also Patricia van Vieken coming up later on in the women's 100 metres, who could well take maximum points for the Duchy. Nice overhead shot of the Silesian Stadium, or the Slaski Stadion in Polish. It has to be said, it's just about the limit of my Polish.
We've also got the women's hammer throw going on the other side of the field here. So lots of lovely field action to get us underway before the track action starts in around about half an hour. Bianca Gabler of Romania, one of the big hitters in this field. She'll be throwing at number 13. European champion in Munich last summer. She looks absolutely delighted with that. She's been a very consistent performer, but that was a big step up. Here's the whole field. Esma Pac of Slovenia will throw first. She's done a personal best in her one and only hammer competition this year, 53.65. Gurun Hallgrimsdottir of Iceland, she's just 20 years old. She'll throw second. Isabu Pleming of Luxembourg is up next, proficient in the shot put and the hammer, but just the hammer today. Anna Maria Orel of Estonia is a four-time national champion. Zelina Markeva of Moldova is a national record holder. She'll throw next. Lukusevechute of Lithuania will throw sixth. Alexandra Ivanovic of Serbia, seventh. Five-time national champion for Serbia. Valentina Sava of Cyprus is up next. She's the European under-18 hammer champion. That was only with the 3 kilogram implement. She would have moved up in weight. She prepares for the senior ranks. Veronika Kanachova of Slovakia is up next. And this woman, I think she's actually a heptathlete. There's no hammer results down for her at all, just here to pick up points for Latvia, I imagine. Rika Gorets of Hungary is up next. World under-20 silver medalist a few years ago. This is Ekaterina Dimova of Bulgaria, their national champion 6 times. This is that European champion I was mentioning when we had the start list, Bianca Gabler, looking very relaxed and pleased to be here. Valeria Vanenko Karolina of Ukraine is the penultimate athlete. Katerina Kok-Jakobsen of Denmark will throw last.
And representing Croatia,
Lucia Pendic will throw last from
the lineup for the women's hammer throw.
16 athletes in total. So all 16 will get 3 throws, 8 will get a further 2, and then the final 4 will get to complete it with their 6 rounds.
Well, that presentation was going on. There was a few more women in the shot put circle. This is Mirjana Dasovic of Serbia. Twice the indoor national champion, has a personal best set a little bit earlier this year, just about 6 weeks ago, of 14.42. .11.97, so quite a modest start. We didn't see it, but the woman who was third to go into the ring, Bezede of Moldova, 17.97. So a very good start from the Moldovan to take the lead at this very early stage in the competition. Now it's Hauskevulu Thrashivulu. One of the more modest throwers, best of just over 13 metres, the Cypriot. 29 years of age, also very proficient discus thrower, but the Cypriots seem to just be able to produce a few good discus throwers, so she's just doing this event. So 13.94 for her. That's a new personal best for the Cypriot. So however things work out, pleasing start to the competition for Thrashivulu. Slovak Republic's Monika Majova, using the rotational technique. Many of the more modest throwers generally still use the old style glide technique. We even saw a few more variants on that this morning, with some of the athletes in the third division in there just to make up the points. Proficient technique from Majova.
I think one thing for Marova there, she's not using the whole circle yet. You can see there's a lot more space in the circle she can use, but she's still only 19 years old, so she might be just adapting that technique. And I think as the throwers get older and stronger, they kind of expand that technique a little bit, but it's still very impressive for 19.
Yes, just under 13 metres, 12.82 for the Slovak putter. Now, Anna Gulbe, one of the better throwers in this competition, best of 15.38, and that may well be close to her personal best. It was over the 15 metre mark. Gulbey, 27 years of age, but it was only 2 weeks ago that she set her personal best. She's not a latecomer to the sport at all. She's just improved recently. So 15:26, just 12 centimetres down on her personal best. Good start for Gulbey. Now, Anita Martin, what can she do to stamp her authority on this competition? She's done it all over the course of her career. Martin, World Indoor Champion in 2018, World Championships Outdoor silver medalist the year before in 2017. That's a good start to Martin. Not throwing at quite the same way that she was at the height of her career. Took a baby break a couple of years ago, but still really enjoying the sport. Very much a figurehead for this Hungarian team. 16:30, so she moves into second place. Over to the hammer.
Had a few throws so far. The lead with Anna Maria Oil of Estonia, 63.52. This is the Moldovan Zelina Margieva. She holds the national record at 74.70, which is a huge throw. If she can manage that. She's not been quite at those heights this season. 68.27, still very handy though. So Margieva, she hasn't thrown too many times. 14th at the Winter Throws competition, the European Athletics event, in 65, and then her second competition, that's 68.27, so she could be rounding into form, Margieva. Good balance there. Maybe a bit of a safe opening effort there from Margieva. It's enough to take the lead though. 64.28 puts her above the Estonian. See fouls there from Hallgrímsdóttir and Esma Pat. Lukasavicute of Lithuania. She holds the national record for the weight throw. That's an event that goes on at the NCAA Championships indoors over in America. So if you're a student there, that's an event you might spend your winter doing. Lukasavicute of Lithuania. Thumbs up. It's a valid effort in the first round. Be short of 60 metres. Sometimes I think when you're out there getting points for a team, so often our sport is individual, but it's got to be a relief that you've got a mark on the board and then you can relax. This is Hallgrímsdóttir of Iceland. She got a foul in the first round, so she's going to be perhaps not as relaxed as some of the other athletes. Next up, Alexandra Ivanovic of Serbia. In the high 60 metres again. The lead still with Margieva, 64.28. Lukasavicute, 57.62 for her. And the Serbian could be similar here in the first round. It's between the 50 and 60 metre marks. 57.31 puts Serbia in fourth place. Eighteen-year-old Valentina Sava of Cyprus up next. She made the final at the World Juniors in Colombia last summer. Very different starting position to some of the other throwers. To the side of the circle there. Still moves in a straight line across the circle. Let's see where the measuring stick goes. That's could be a very nice throw there from the Cypriot in the opening round. There's a smile. Looks pretty close to 65 metres. The lead with Margieva, 64.28. We're just in the opening round though. Sava has got a personal best of 65.23, so she won't quite trouble that. It was below the 65 metre line, but very nice 63.84. And some of the throws events across these different divisions are very high quality, and it's a really lovely test for some of these athletes.
Yes, just to mention Sava very quickly, she's the reigning European under-18 champion with a 3-kilogram implement, but next month, in 2 months' time, she'll be returning to Jerusalem, where we had the European under-18s, contesting the European under-20 event. And I think she's got a good chance of getting a medal there as well. She looks a real prospect as we look at Kanachova of Slovak Republic.
And Sava certainly, this would be a really good opportunity for her. So a red mark there coming up for Kanachova. Does that mean it was a foul? Have to just get that confirmed. I think that was a foul for Veronika Kanachova, so maybe a foot foul there that we didn't see with a second replay. So I always think I was an endurance athlete, and you look at throws and think you've got loads of attempts, but then suddenly they whittle away. It can be crunch time very quickly. Well,
we're going to be flicking backwards and forwards from the women's hammer to the women's shot. Into the circle. It's Gunnarsdottir, one of the better athletes in this Division 2 shot put. Icelandic holds the national record with 17.39. That was set back in April. Based at Rice University in the States. Like many athletes in this competition, quite a smattering of US collegiate athletes here. 16.93. So pretty good start there to the competition for Gunnarsdottir. Less than half a metre down on her national record set very recently. And that puts her up into second place. That brings to an end the first round. So we go back up to the top of the order again. Krumlovska. Well, Krumlovska in the first round, 13.09. Looks as though it might have been a little bit better. Maybe not. I think that first line is the 13-metre line. Thought it was a little bit over it. Instead, it was just a little bit under. 12.98. Katalin Pirimai, the Estonian. That was a good effort from Pirimai. She was a very good teenage athlete. Got a bronze at the European Under-20 Championships back in 2013. A decade ago, when she was just 17. Now we're switching very quickly between the events. That was Dimova of Bulgaria in the women's hammer.
Background to Bianca Gabler, chasing the early lead of Zalina Markieva. 64.28. The mark for Sava, 63.84. So it was a good throw from the young Cypriot. Not a leading throw. Gabler very close to the netting here on her opening effort. But you can see the hammer has soared all the way over the 70-metre mark. So the European lead at the moment is with Silja Kosonen of Finland, 73.78. And that's a mark Bianca Gabler is certainly capable of. She's definitely capable of the win here. But I wonder if she might want to just put a mark down for her season. It's going okay so far.
Well, we saw Hannah Skydan this morning go over 71 metres for Azerbaijan in the third division.
There's got to be a bit of a kind of honour there as well. You want to be the hammer throwing woman, the woman that's thrown the furthest. Doesn't matter what division you're in. I'm sure they'll see each other around the warm-up area in the various hotels. And Bianca Gabler, her marks come up as 71 metres 75. So that's a pretty big lead at the moment, early stages here. Valeria Ivanenko Kirillina of the Ukraine is up next. European under-20 champion a couple of years ago, but that's clattered the netting. It has made it through the netting out for a mark, but it's going to be really hampered by getting slowed down there on the way out. under 18 champion and under 20 champion. And, might be looking to Espoo in Finland to make the hat-trick of age group European titles. That championships takes place the second week of July. 57.50 for Avanenko Karolina. So good enough for 6th place, so that we have 10 valid throws now, and with the top 8 the only ones that are going to go on to rounds 4 and 5, it's starting to be crunch time ever so slightly. Now Katarina Jakobsen of Denmark is up next. She broke the Danish national record last year with 74.22. She's gone on over 70 metres this season as well. Only her and Bianca Gabler have managed that, so this Danish woman has definitely got the opportunity to turn the tables on Gabler if she can hit it right today. Unfortunately, it's going to be a foul there for Jakobsen in the opening round. The hammer just falling outside the sector.
She's one athlete who returns here trying to do what she did 2 years ago in winning, and that occasion she also set a national record. It was 68 metres at that time.
That's quite something she added to it over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal from Jakobsen. Here goes Lucia Pendic of Croatia. She's going to complete the opening round here in the women's hammer.
So, while we wait for Pendic to take her effort, back to the shot put. Oh, it's Marjova. Not quite finding her form. That was well short of the 13 metre mark, which is the first of the lines out there, 13 and 15 metres. Marjova, best of 13.89. Well, that's a bit of an improvement though, saying it was short of the 13 metre line, 13.19. So Anna Gold of Latvia at the moment, lying down in 4th place. A good opening effort though of 15.26. That's over 15 metres as well. She was just 12 centimetres short of her personal best with her opening effort. Not necessarily the tidiest of technicians, but she does get a lot of weight behind it. 15.42, as you can see, delight on her face, a new personal best. So improves her personal best by 6 centimetres. Keeps her down in 4th place at the moment, but can't complain that coming to a competition like this and coming away with a personal best. Anita Martin now. Just remember, had a personal best in the final at the Rio Olympics at 1987. It's not quite there at the moment. That's around the 17 metre mark. But I do know Martin is, despite the fact that she's not quite at the same level that she was in previous years, really enjoying her sport. 16.95 for Anita Martin. So she overtakes Gunnarsdottir and goes into 2nd place. This is Michaela Petkova, the Bulgarian. Also a very good javelin thrower. We expect to see her in the javelin later as well. 60 metre plus javelin thrower. Helping the Bulgarians out here. I'm afraid gone are the days of the 1980s when the Bulgarian heavy throwers used to be quite a dominant force. Dropping down possibly around the 13.5, 14 metre mark. Reigning Bulgarian indoor champion. So that was 13.24, so no improvement for Petkova. Back to the hammer.
So we are round to Anna Maria Orel of Estonia. She held a very early, short-lived lead with her 63.52 from the first round. She's now been pushed down into 4th place. 63.52 is only just below her season's best, so it's been a good start. And the hammer there, just a shade over 60 metres. The Estonian walks out. .60 metres, 50 centimetres for Orel. She stays well in that top 8 zone to give herself a full 5 throws. Margieva of Moldova up next. She briefly held the lead before Bianca Gabler took it out to over 70 metres. That looked a bit more relaxed than her first effort, a bit more aggression, a bit more oomph behind it. And she might be rewarded with a slight improvement there, pushing up towards the 70 metre mark. She shakes her head, that's because it's probably still below 70. She's the national record holder for Moldova at 74 metres 70. The World Championship qualifying mark for this event, 73.60. Margieva, Gabler and indeed Jakobsen yet to hit that this season. That's something they could be aiming for here today. 63.99, so round about the same for Margieva. Lukas Sevechute of Lithuania up next. 57.62, she's in 6th. Throw there, just not quite going to plan. I think it clipped the netting on the way out and it's fallen very short. She'll walk out the front. That won't be measured. Let's have a look back at the replay. You can see there just a little bit off balance for me there. Lukas Sevechute, just towards the end of the rotations there in the circle, it slowed down. It was off balance, and it resulted in the hammer just really not quite getting totally stopped by the netting, but pretty much.
Hannah, in Birmingham, you mentor a lot of young athletes. What do you tell them about hammer throwing?
Well, I don't quite have the coaching licence to do hammer throwing yet. Ivanovic, they're desperate to try pole vault and hammer, the young kids that I work with. But it's a very lovely event, and I think Roald Dahl's got a lot to answer for in the UK by making Miss Trunchbull from Matilda a hammer thrower, and she was a bit of a villain. So I think it doesn't quite have the popularity levels that it should in Britain. But luckily that doesn't seem to have filtered across the whole world. But Ivanovic joining Lukas Sevechute with a foul in the second round.
Over to the shot put, and we're down at the bottom of the second round. This is Emma Solé Gunnarsdottir. Just been relegated back to 3rd place. It's 16.93, good start for the Icelandic thrower. Not that far away from her national record set recently. That's dropping down more or less at the same mark, just shy of the 17 metre line.
Didn't think I'd hear Roald Dahl mentioned in an athletics stream. That's the first time. I'm trying to think of any other Roald Dahl references we can bring in.
I'll work on it for tomorrow.
16.66 for Gunnarsdottir. Well, I think about Roald Dahl. That's an excellent idea. Okay, we'll get back to you on that one. It's educating as well as enlightening listening to the European Athletics live stream.
I won't say anything about the twits or anything. That would be too far.
Staying with the shot put then. The event still being led by Dimitriana Bezede of Moldova at 17.27. Start of the third round now. Stephanie Krumlovsky. Krumlovsky a little bit way down at the moment in 15th place. That's a foul. So that's the end of the competition for Krumlovsky, but we will see her in action in her slightly better event, the discus, very shortly.
down to Sava Cyprus. Hello, she starts there. It's a very different technique than some of the other women. She's in a big squat there when she starts her throwing action. 63.84 in the first round. Looks about the same. A good throw from the Slovakian Veronika Kanachova just before this. It has pushed Sava down into third place.
Just coming back to Roldau, what else did he do? He did the big friendly giant, Willy Wonka, didn't he?
Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, which was a sequel, which...
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
Metaphorically, breaking through the glass elevator is something you could do.
We'll quickly read up overnight and bring you more Roldau references during the course of tomorrow. But now, sticking very firmly with the women's shot put, Katlin Peremai. Peremai 14.06, so that puts her up into 6th place. Well, she had 14.53, so clinging on to a top 8 position at the moment. Now, this is Bezede, the Moldovan, leading the way at 17.27, but she doesn't like that, and it's another red flag for her. Skips out, just couldn't contain it, but I have a feeling she knew it had fallen apart anyway, and just, that wasn't her so much being unable to contain her momentum as just knowing that it had fallen short. It wasn't quite right. However you judge it, it's still a red flag, but Bezede still leading the way with 17.27. Just a few throws into the third round. And of course 16 points going to the winning nation, all the way down to 1 point for 16th place in this Division 2. Into the shot put circle, the Lithuanian Vasienskaite. In 5th place at the moment with 14.67. Let's have a look at that again. It's just dropping down at around the 15-metre mark, but it's not quite there. 14.49. Nevertheless, she's still at the moment in 5th place, and one of those top 8 which will go forward to have 2 further throws. Lithuania, well, they have chances of promotion. They're perhaps not amongst the favourites, but if all goes right and a few other things go in their favour, could possibly scrape into the top 3. The hammer.
Katerina Dimova going for a debrief there. She's on 42 metres 12 centimetres. Bianca Gabler, reigning European champion, up next. But just a note on Rika Guratz of Hungary. She's on 2 fouls. Guratz is certainly a name we'd expect to see in the top 8, but she's got just 1 throw left to do that. All 16 athletes still throwing now. But Guratz, with her previous championship history, you really expect her to be into this top 8, so pressure for her. Not so much pressure for Bianca Gabler at the moment. 71.75, very good opening effort. That looked faster than her first one as well. Let's see just where it lands down, well over 70 metres. Maybe about the same, maybe a slight improvement on 71.75. Brilliant championship record. 6th in Eugene, 6th in Daegu at those 2 World Championships, and 6th in Tokyo at the Olympic Games, and kind of felt like she was always going to be a top 8 performer and then punch through for that gold medal in Munich. 72.97 for Gabler. That's an improvement, and that exceeds the mark of Hannah Skyden this morning, so she's got bragging rights if she happens to be in the same hotel as Azerbaijan. Valerie Avankenko Kirillina of Ukraine up next. She is in 8th place at the moment, 57.5 metres. Just working our way towards the end of round 2. Ivanenko Karolina hit the netting on her first attempt. It's a clean throw here. It lands over 60 metres. That could be enough to put her up into the top 6 here. Hallgrímsdóttir of Iceland is in 6th with 58.49. .61 metres 19 for Ivanenko Karolina. It's 6th place at the moment. I mentioned we've got a few Ukrainian big hitters: Yaroslava Mahuchik, Marina Beck-Romanchuk, trying to score big points, but a good showing there in the hammer in 6th at the moment.
And Marjeva of Slovak Republic, 3rd effort, no improvement, so she departs from the competition with a best of 13.19. Currently in 14th place, the Slovakian thrower. A bit disappointing from her, expecting a little bit better, I think. And now Latvia's Anna Gulba. Gulba 4th at the moment, 15.42 in the last round, which was a personal best. Reigning Latvian champion, indoors and out. Don't think that was an improvement for Gulba. No, and she knows it, so she just taps on the stopboard and it's a red flag and we can move quickly on. Saves the judges measuring it. As soon as she landed, she knew, there we go. Shows the judges the courtesy of not being needed to measure that particular throw.
Saw a lot of that in the triple jump this morning, and because we didn't actually see all of those walkthroughs, then you kind of wondered what on earth's going on.
It did indeed. Fortunately, we were able to see it with the naked eye, but we're trying to keep you up to date with everything that's going on, because it is a busy schedule out there in all the division programmes. Now, Anita Martin. Martin in 2nd place at the moment with 16.97, and that probably is there or thereabouts, but it's not going to take the lead from Dimitriana Bezede of Moldova, who has 17.27 to her name at the moment. Martin. She won the bronze at the Rio Olympics. Was the first Hungarian woman to win in, I was looking at my notes, since 1968, so 38 years. Now Bulgaria's Michaela Petkova. Petkova, 9th place at the moment, needs to improve by 5 centimetres to get into the top 8. Still, number of athletes to come. Petkova number 10 on the throwing order. 16 women in this field. But if she can improve just a little bit, that would help her position immensely. 14.30 a personal best, not so long ago. Just about 6 weeks ago. Ooh. I don't know whether that is going to be any better. And I think she knew it by the anguished look on her face. Doesn't need to go over 14 metres, just needs 13.94 or better to take that 8th place. No, it's not there, so she's eliminated. 13.70 for Petkova. At the moment, 8th place held by Thrashivulu of Cyprus, 13.89. That's the target for several of the remaining women in this competition. Not least of which, this woman. 12.89 to start with, but she can throw close to 15 metres. No, that's well short. That's a disappointment for Tignasu of Romania.
So back with Isabel Fleming of Luxembourg. So we are into the third round. Similar situation to the shot put here. If you don't push yourself up into the top 8, your competition is done, and that is the case for Fleming here with a throw of 48.28. Not a long way below her season's best. A good showing for the athlete from Luxembourg, and she would have got some points. She's in 13th at the moment. 4 points for Luxembourg. Aurel is in the top 8 at the moment. Going out well over the 60-metre mark there for Aurel. That could improve on her 63.52, I think.
I'm just wondering whether her partner, Christian Che, is in the stands somewhere. Che not competing this afternoon, will be competing later on in the second division. And she was instrumental in helping connect Christian Che with his current coach, the world and Olympic champion, Gerd Kanter.
I think I can see him, Phil, to naked eye. I think he's going to come down and have a chat. He's pretty big.
It's pretty easy to see, isn't he?
Big friendly giant right there.
Hadn't seen him. You've got your glasses on. Oh, Ukraine's Maria Larina fouls. That's going to be a red flag. It's a bit slow in coming up, but yes, it was pretty obvious as we were discussing Mr. Che. Larina fouling out there. So Larina does also departs with the best of 13.30. Bit of a disappointment for her. She's been regularly over 14 metres, and that would have done to get her through to the top 8.
The briefest of looks there at the amateur, just bringing up to date. Aurel 63.19. This is Margiva. So Aurel stays in 6th place, the Estonian. Zelina Margiva is in 4th at the moment. She's trying to improve on her 64.28. .65.86, and is an improvement for Margiva. That pushes her up into 2nd place, just ahead of Veronika Kanachova of Slovakia, who's in 3rd at the moment. There he is, there's a big man, Christian Che. He's given his coaching advice and he's gone back up. Lukas Stevaciute of Lithuania is in 9th at the moment, right on the bubble of making it into the next 2 rounds. She needs to find 58.49 if she wants to make it through, and that has gone over 60 metres. That is very good news for the Lithuanian Agne Lukas Stevaciute. Yeah, 2 thumbs up. This is very, very tight around about the 8th position. Still some good athletes left to go. Measurement 60 metres, 73 for Lukas Stevaciute, and that will bump her up. The graphic's not updated yet, but that does put her up into 8th place.
It's quite airless and humid down on the stadium floor. I think it's going to be sucking the energy of these hammer throwers as we get into the last 4 rounds. Great for sprinting, but in a longish competition like this, it's going to take its toll very slightly.
I think you're right, Phil. It is very physical as well. It's big explosive efforts. It's hard to keep your composure and not start to feel fatigued as well. That can be whether you are fatigued or whether you just feel it because you're hot and bothered. It's Ivanovic of Serbia. I don't think she's going to improve her standing with that effort. She's in 10th with 57.31. Has that been given a valid effort? It's right on the line. And Aleksandra Ivanovic of Serbia. That will be the end of her competition here. 10th place for Serbia. We're just whittling down this field here in the third round of the women's hammer. Valentina Sava up next. She's in 4th place. Starts very low, her back very rounded. She does get that triple extension extend all the way up before she releases it. That looks like it's landing just in between second and third there. It could be 65 metres or so for Sava, which would be her right about her new personal best this season, 65.23 set in Cyprus. So she's just 18 and we'll be getting to grips with the heavier implement here. She's under 18, they throw just 3 kilograms, 63.57. It looked further to me on the graphic there when it was when it came down, but maybe it was the handle of the hammer rather than the ball.
And it is so impressive, as you say, just 18, to be mastering the hammer in this way when you consider that out of all the events we have in athletics, it's one of the latest that you typically peak at, sometimes, late to mid-30s. That's why we sometimes see hammer throwers into their late 30s, and I think we'll continue to see that because generally we tend to see people competing longer and longer these days.
Absolutely. Bianca Gabler, 33, just hitting her prime when she's been around for a long time as well. I love these skill-based events where you're just refining that skill over and over. Kanachova has been refining her skill throughout the competition. Foul in the first, 65.54, puts her in 3rd place at the moment. It's around about the same that for Kanachova.
Watch her footwork there. She just goes a little bit too far off to the right.
She's been struggling with the netting a bit as well. That could be why, if she's shuffling over like that. Kanachova a foul, but she stays in 3rd place. I think when you're firmly in that top 8, you can take risks. You can go a bit faster, and that might cause your technique to fall apart a bit. But you can take that risk when you're all right. Rebecca Olonise of Latvia. I mentioned I thought she was a heptathlete. That's the main results I could find for her. 23 metres 23. It's listed as a season's best, not a personal best. But you can see not moving across the circle at all, doing a very static throw. And I wonder if we might see Olonise try a different event later on in the next 2 days. But she's doing a bit for the team here. She looks like she's having fun as well. I used to do this sometimes when you compete for your club. I used to do the old 800-metre javelin throw effort, and it was really hard work. It really gives you appreciation for these other events. But she matches her mark from the second round, 23.23, and she's in 15th at the moment. Reka Guras of Hungary still struggling on 2 fouls. Anyways, Guras up next.
Are there any videos of you throwing the javelin on YouTube anywhere? Just point me in that direction, please, Hannah.
Luckily, they didn't have smartphones and whatnot when I was throwing my 13 metres.
You make yourself sound old. Don't say that.
It's true. Right, Guratz is a good thrower. She should be in this top 8 on paper. She's on 2 fouls so far. That is a valid effort. Now, it's well over 60 metres, so that will put her in the top 8. That is heartbreak for Luka Sivachute of Lithuania, who was just upped herself into the top 8. Reka Guratz of Hungary, under 20 medalist at the world level and the European level, getting it together here in the 3rd round. That was nice. We didn't see her other fouls, I don't think, or maybe one of them was into the netting, but when you look at a throw like that, you kind of wonder what was going on the first 2 rounds, because that was lovely. It was smooth, it was fluent, and under pressure as well. The Hungarian here, 65 metres 11. That pushes her up into 4th place.
Yeah, in that situation where you want to try and get some points rather than a complete no score, most athletes seemingly, I think, would actually go for it rather than be overly cautious.
I love the dynamic of it happens in every event in track and field, but trying hard, it doesn't really work. It generally causes you to tighten up and your technique to fall apart. Dimova of Bulgaria is last to throw here. She's down in 15th. That could be an improvement on 42 metres and 12, and much like Olenise of Latvia, just enjoying herself and doing her bit for her team here, I think.
So an overhead shot of the Stadion Slaski here in Horso. And that's what the inside looks at. So this is the first track action then here in the second division. And we're going to kick off with the women's 400 metres. So we'll have a B race first of all, then an A race, and it's all about maximum points across those two races, decided by times, effectively as an aggregate result across both of the heats. Fanny Arendt of Luxembourg on the outside, personal best in Texas in March, 56.45. Calliope Contori, been winning separate titles all the way back since 2011. Anna Urbacher Lange, just over a week ago she improved her PB to 54.6. Then Deva Maria Dragieva, 53.76, and she also has a 200 lifetime best this year. For Slovakia, Alexandra Bešekova, she holds national records in both of the relay events, 4x1 and 4x4. Estonia often have a young contingent of athletes, and Viola Hambic is just 16 years of age, a heptathlete who was 6th at the under-18s in Jerusalem last year, the European under-18s of course. Ingebjörg Sigurdardóttir of Iceland, lifetime best for her indoors in February outright of 57.3. And on the inside here is Tatiana Contraput of Romania. So her fastest ever time 2 weeks ago for the Moldovan, set in Romania of 57 seconds. Winner of both the Moldovan 200 and 400 indoor title this year. So these athletes in some ways looking to set a marker for the A race competitors to follow. Contraput, Sigurdardóttir, Hambic, Bešekova, Dragieva, Lange, Conturi and Arendt. The women's 400 metre B race. So watch out in particular for Bešekova, the only athlete who's gone sub 53 seconds from lane 5. It was a very clear win for Charlene Maudsley of Ireland in 51.5 this morning. It put them in a strong position overall after their first session in that third division. Of course, with promotion hopes, the bottom three going down to the third division and looking to obviously avoid relegation. But Lange going very smoothly in the red and black of Denmark here. Bešekova, one of those chasing her down. Look at Dragieva of Bulgaria then in the green and red, finishing very strongly. Oh goodness me, Lange falls to the ground dramatically as Dragieva comes through from Bešekova in 53.37. So that the headline, but Lange has, I can tell you, just got to her feet to finish the race. Not sure what happened there. Hannah, did you have a clear view of it?
I've got to say, I think Lange just ran out of oomph a little bit. She was working very, very hard down the back straight. She was obviously fired up for this ambitious news. She had Dragieva and Bezelkova inside her, and it was a phenomenally fast start from the Danish woman at this stage. You can see she already worked out the stagger on Conturi and Arden outside of her, and I wonder, we'll perhaps get another look at the replay on the home straight, but just stumbling and tripping over her feet. I think that happens under extreme fatigue, and it'll be so frustrating for Anna Lange because she was really up for this today. You can see just as the fatigue and the lactic acid sets in, it ruins your knee lift. She just catches her toe and goes tumbling down.
Yeah, not impossible that the heat could be a factor as well, but playing into that exhaustion. Last time I looked, it was around 29 degrees. Just starting to cool a little bit, I think, ever so slightly.
There's not an awful lot of shade here on the track. There's not much in the warm-up area either, and it's hard work to warm up and then compete in this weather.
Well, we'll quickly come back to the field events before the A race in the women's 400 metres gets underway. And this is Gulba of Latvia. Well, Gulba lying in 4th place at the moment, having a good competition. Set a personal best in the second round of 15:42. Camera angle was just a little bit deceptive there. Let's just have a look at the replay. Looks as though it fell just a little bit short. She's having a good competition. First round effort just shy of a PB, and second round effort was a personal best by 6 centimetres. That one over 15 metres as well, so good competition from Anna Gulba, who's in 4th place at the moment. Now, Gunnarsdottir, the Icelandic record holder. 3 very closely together in the first 3 rounds, topped by that opener of 16.93. Sent the shot over 17 metres for a Icelandic record of 17.92 fairly recently. So there's more to come from Gunnarsdottir. 16.52, so a very consistent series from the Icelandic putter. She's in 3rd place at the moment, though.
Have been a few more microphones down there with the coaches. It's very interesting getting that. You have to speak the correct language, of course, but to get that insight, I wonder if they'll be used to that, though. I'll have to watch the language.
So Anita Martin. Again, consistent series, 16.95. Oh, that's an excellent putt from her. That's well over 17 metres. That may well have taken the lead for Anita Martin, the former world indoor champion and world championships and Olympic medalist. 17.27 at the moment, the lead for Bezede of Moldova. But Martin nailed that one. She's pleased. 17.66, so indeed goes into the lead by 39 centimetres.
Going to be a big moment for her when the World Championships come to her home country, isn't it?
Indeed, I think big moment for all Hungarians. And we have one woman here who's be hoping to compete in Budapest, Janka Molnar. She'll be going lane 8. So this is a very, very evenly matched contest in many respects. Out on the outside, it's the European indoor 800 metre silver medalist, Anita Horvat. She holds the national record at 400 though, moved up to 2 laps of the track recently. Janka Molnar, who I mentioned, 5 times national champion for Hungary over both 400 metres and 400 metres hurdles. Now, this woman is the woman in form, and for my money, the slight favourite, Andrea Miklos, World Indoor Championships relay bronze medalist. Katerina Kopiuk of Ukraine, struggling to find a best form this season. Gunterval Kulte, national record holder for Latvia in lane 5. On her inside, 7 times national 200 and 400 metre champion Veronika Draushazic of Croatia, still just 21 years of age. And the fastest woman in this field, making a debut over 1 lap of the track this year, Modesta Moroskaite, Lithuanian record holder at 50.49. And on the inside, Maja Ciric of Serbia, now 33 years of age. A whole myriad of Serbian indoor and outdoor titles from 60 metres to 400 metres. So as they settle down from the inside, it's Ciric of Serbia, Monoskaite of Lithuania, Dražasic of Croatia, Valkule Latvia, Karpiup Ukraine, Miklos Romania, Molnar of Hungary, and on the outside, Anita Horvat, European indoor silver medalist over 800 metres back in March for Slovenia. And it is Horvat who starts very quickly indeed. So too in lane 2 as expected, Monoskaite. Well, it was a bit of an unknown factor coming here. She hasn't run over 400 metres so far this year, but she's clearly very fit, running very well indeed. Monoskaite blasting her way around the bend. She's coming up to 200 metres, and it's certainly Monoskaite. Miklos also doing extremely well at this stage. Miklos in lane 7, so it's big three-way battle between Romania, Lithuania and Slovenia at the moment, but Horvat starting to slip back quite badly around the bend. It's now Miklos out on the outside in lane 7 at the moment. Monoskaite can't quite get up with her, and the woman in form, it's, whoa, that is a huge personal best for Andrea Miklos. Absolutely magnificent performance, and that takes her up to number 5 on the European 2023 list. Whoa, what a run by Miklos. She's not that far off Femke Bol's championship record from 2 years ago. That's made a huge statement by Andrea Miklos. Well, twice European Championship finalist, but she's made a big step up here. European Under-20 silver medalist and European Under-23 bronze medalist in recent times. Well, everything just fell into place for Miklos. She ran the first 100 metres quite conservatively and then just tore over the rest of the 400 metres.
That's what I was confused watching that race. I mean, Miklos was putting so much ground into everyone else on the last 100, and when the clock stopped, that's when it made sense for me for that to be a sub 50 second clocking. Really very impressive from Andrea Miklos of Romania. And you mentioned Monoskaite, she's not raced so far this season. She's been injured all winter and been unable to compete, and you could see that emotion there for her as well, clocking a 51 second mark with her opening race of the season. That's a brilliant return to form for the Lithuanian. So what a special race here, and we're in Division 2. On paper you'd expect not to see these results when you're in the second division of the championships, but this is what I love about track and field. You've got individuals there that can punch through, and that's going to be a very, very impressive time, and it should inspire the other one-lappers on the men's side and when we look towards the other divisions as well.
Well, we haven't really talked about it, but the European Games are awarding medals to the top 3 performances in each event, and I think that where we'd be expecting that the gold, silver and bronze would usually be going to Division 1 athletes, but I think that puts Miklos in medal contention without a doubt, with that superb race to take maximum points in Division 2 for Romania. Miklos still can't believe it, gasping for breath, big delighted smile on the face of the 24-year-old who was such a great athlete in the age group categories. Confirmation, Andrea Miklos 50.67, and a very good return to form in second place for Modesta Monoskaite, the Lithuanian, 51.61. Janka Molnar, the Hungarian we talked about, hoping to perform on a home stage at the World Championships, takes third with 51.74.
So Miklos is 1/10 of a second off the Romanian national record set by Ionela Talea, who was the Olympic 400 hurdles silver medalist in Athens. So that could be her next target that time.
Oh, I think it has to be. So there we go. Well, it's the first of the confirmed events, and as you've just seen, Romania. No, that has to be after 2 events. Because how can you get 26 points
with
from
what's happened in the shot put? Have they got a Romanian in the second 8 in the shot put that's out and those points are scored?
I'll tell you
That's
what.
my only answer.
I'm not sure.
Because Bianca Gabler is definitely still throwing in the women's.
I have a feeling we might just have to put that down to a gremlin at the moment. We'll try and bring you up to date because maybe it's me. Help me out here. That didn't make sense to me.
was given her bonus points because it was such a good performance.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'd give her 26 points for that.
And there you go. I think this woman's on course for a few bonus points as well. Anita Martin in the 5th round now, doing extremely well, the former European indoor champion. Martin, I think that's an improvement on a 1766, or it's there or thereabouts, 1770. So putting a little more distance between her and Dimitriana Bezede, who led for 3 rounds up to the halfway point. There we see Bezede coming into the circle. Don't think that was as far as Martin's effort though. 17.11. That just squeaked over the 17-metre mark rather than putting daylight between where the shot landed and the white tape. So that brings us to the end of 5 rounds in the women's shot. Just as a reminder, Anita Martin leading the way in the women's shot, 1770.
So next field event to get underway in a few minutes' time will be the men's triple jump competition. And as you might have guessed, the athletes about to be introduced here in the Slavsky Stadium, starting with Vladislav Shepeliev of Ukraine, improving last month to 16 meters 34.
Representing Denmark.
Dennis Muggy of Denmark, as they all walk through. Philip Kazina, 15:45 he's improved to this year. The unmissable Slovenia green. So another event as we saw earlier on in the 3rd division, with big differences in lifetime best as you're seeing here. 14 metres all the way up close to 17. Louis Muller of Luxembourg. Estonia's Viktor Morozov, European under-20 bronze medalist 2 years ago, following that up with the same colour medal at the World Under-20s in Colombia last summer. And Vadim Doskolov of Moldova, 17-time national champion, including indoors and out. Gustas Grishka, the Lithuanian. Alexa Ratanac of Serbia. Grigoris Nikolaou represents Cyprus, another who's had a lifetime best in Cali at the World Under-20s, 15:84. 42 centimetres off that this year. Latvia's Sandis Zenitis, sporting the backwards cap. Daniel Shendurfi of Hungary, so 15:83 for him in Debrecen in his home country this month, best ever. Lashisar Valshev of Bulgaria, European under-18 champion last year. Razvan Grecu of Romania, he actually won bronze at the European under-18s. That was back in 2016 when they were held in Georgia's capital city, Tbilisi. So as I say, that gets underway in just a couple of minutes' time. Meanwhile, the women's shot put still ongoing.
Yeah, so into the final round now. Anita Martin, the event leader, with 1770. Good season's best for the former world indoor champion. Martin just prowling the sector. Just waiting for a turn. So in the final round, under special European Athletics Team Championship rules, it's just the top 4 for the throws and the horizontal jumps. And this is Anna Gulber, personal best of 15:42, needs to improve by rather a lot well over a metre to get into the top 3. She's still got a personal best. 13 points for Latvia. Well, that's around the 15-metre mark, so I don't think it's going to be an improvement for her, but still over 15 metres as well. Good consistent series with the 4 valid throws. Gulba finishes with 15.04 and finishes 4th with 15.42. Now, Gunnarsdottir of Iceland, 16.93. In front of her, Bezede of Moldova, 17.27. Oh, that's around the 17-metre mark again, but I don't think it's going to be good enough to move her up into second place. So the Icelandic record holder just the shot comes down, bangs down on the tape. 16.89. So just 4 centimetres shy of her best in this competition. And look at that, once again, a very good series. All over 16.52, topped with a 16.93. And Iceland bag 14 points. Now, Moldova's Dimitriana Bezede. Bezede led through the first 3 rounds, and then the former world indoor champion Anita Martin got rolling. No, that's not going to be an improvement, and she knows it. Just saw it drop down and steps out of the circle. So Bezede has to settle for second place. And the stage is left to the woman who's confirmed that she has maximum points for Hungary in this Division 2 contest, Anita Martin. And 17.70 is quite a good mark. That could well put her in overall European Games medal contention. There's some very good throwers in the Division 1 coming up on Friday evening, I should say. But that will give them something to think about. Still a great technician. Bangs it down on just over 17 metres. I don't think that's going to be any better than her previous round of 17.70. Yeah, there's quite a few 18-metre throwers there, but 17.70 is a pretty good effort from Martin. 17.74, well, it isn't its slight improvement, a 4 centimetre improvement. And Anita Martin wins this Division 2 shot put competition by 47 centimetres from Dimitriana Bezede of Moldova. Maximum points for Hungary. And Hungary, as we've talked about, one of the teams which our European athletics expert Mirko Jalava has been punting as probably one of the favourites for promotion. So Anita Martin, confirmation there of her 16 points and victory with 17.74. Bezede 17.27 and Gunnarsdottir 16.93. Takes second and third for Moldova and Iceland as we're back with the closing stages of the women's hammer.
Halfway through round 5 here. Valentina Sava of Cyprus has been having a very consistent competition, and that might just be a little bit better. 4th place at the moment, 65.86 with Margiva. That's what gets you into the final round. Valentina Sava, the young 18-year-old from Cyprus, just getting some brilliant experience, but also improving bit by bit. You can see her coach like that as well. So that mark has come up at 65.47 for Sava, and it's also the furthest throw by any junior in the world this year, for the European Junior Championships this year in Jerusalem at the start of August, that Valentina Sava could have a go at. She's up into 5th place at the moment. Rita Guraz at a shaky start to the competition, 2 fouls, and then she's figured it out. 65.11, 67.01. She's in 3rd. So Sava there with her final throw will stay down outside this all-important top 4. Rita Gurat safe for the time being. Guratz stays with their best mark at 67.01. Throwing order here has been was reshuffled in the last round, I believe. So that will bring us this woman, Veronika Kanachova, next. So she is the only woman left that can change the top four. Margiva, Guratz, Jakobsen and Gabler are our top four at the moment. Kanachova needs to find another nearly 2 metres to get ahead of Zelina Markeva, the Moldovan, ahead of her. And Zanet for Kanachova, and she will finish in 5th place for Slovakia. Good points though. She almost gets her feet tangled up there a little bit. Maybe slows her momentum down, doesn't get round further enough to get the hammer out of the cage because it's just ended up in the netting. So Zelina Markeva up next, 4th at the Doha World Championships, 8th in Beijing. That didn't look very fun for Markeva there. Well below 65. She is in the top 4 though, so she'll have another chance to throw. That national record set a few years ago, 74.70. And that looked like a good committed throw, but it just fell out of the air there quite quickly. Zelina Markeva has got another chance to have a go. That leaves us with just one more athlete to throw here in round 5. Current event leader Bianca Florentina Gabler. Seen that brilliant 50.67 from Andrea Miklos in the women's 400 metres. I wonder if Bianca Gabler cheered her on around the bend here. Again, it's a fairly unique week for our athletes, a chance to compete as a team, and every time you talk to an athlete they do say, oh no, I will be paying attention to how everyone else does. I will be watching those other events. Bianca Gabler, that's it. Another throw out over 70 metres here. All of her efforts have been over 71 metres. She's putting together a very good series. I did mention that European lead, 73.78 with Silja Kosonen, World Championship qualifier mark 73.60, neither of which Bianca Gabler has this season. I'm sure her world ranking will be more than high enough to get her on the plane to Budapest. Those are 2 ways to qualify now for major championships, either with the mark or with your world ranking, and the European Championships does fall within that world ranking window to qualify for Budapest, so Gabler is in points galore. Staring down that scoreboard. It was definitely over 70 metres. I don't think it looked as far as a 72.97. Gabler's thrown many more hammers than I ever have. She's keen to see what this distance is. This is the final throw in round 5. Our top 4, Zelina Markeva, Rika Guratz, Katalin Jakobsen and Bianca Gabler will go forward to the final 6th round. 71.97. It isn't quite an improvement, but look at that for a scorecard for Gabler.
So, first sight of some triple jump action. Shepeliev of Ukraine here. 16-18 to win the Ukrainian indoor title earlier this year, and then improving outdoors to 16-34. So, appears to be a man in good form. If you were with us earlier, you might have noticed that Levon Agasyan of Armenia jumped out to 16.36, which is a decent mark compared to what we might see here today, this evening.
Yes, I'd expect a few athletes to go beyond that mark, but not
too many.
Not too many, no.
Time for some more track action. This is Heat B in the men's 400 metres. 8 athletes down there on the track, 16 teams, gives us 2 heats of 8. These athletes will be looking to put down a marker for the Heat A to chase. Then we'll go shortly after this. Lucas Lessel of Estonia is in lane 9. He's only done one 400 this season, but it was good. 47.83 in Panu, Estonia. Jordan Gurov of Bulgaria goes in lane 8. He does run 400 hurdles as well, but he's set a new lifetime best of 47.49 in this event. Lane 7 is Ivan Goloshko of Moldova. He's 20 years old, one of the youngest in the field. Artis Pastors of Latvia is in lane 6, 3-time national champion over 200 and 400. So a true sprinter here, 47.07 his best for the 2023 season. Marko Oreskovic of Croatia goes in lane 5. He's the fastest in the field with his new time of 46.8. Pasios Dimitradis of Cyprus is in lane 4. He set a new lifetime best this season as well. Lots of men competing at their very best. Samunder Olofsson of Iceland goes in lane 3. Seems to run a lot of 800s and 1500s, maybe moving down in distance over his career. The opposite of what we see from a lot of athletes. Philip Hilger of Luxembourg is the final athlete in lane 2. The organisers leaving that tight lane 1 empty. Hilger is 3-time national champion for Luxembourg. Thuraskovic in lane 5, the 19-year-old fastest in the field. And the only athlete underneath 47 seconds. First heat of the men's 400 underway here for Division 2. Fast start for Pastors of Latvia. He's opened up a gap on Oreskovic of Croatia on his inside. The Latvian is really going for this. He's done just a notch outside 47 seconds this season. Maybe thinks he could do a bit better today, but Oreskovic of Croatia has closed that gap down gradually on the Latvian outside of him. 150 metres to go. The stagger will unwind. It looks like the outside lanes have the better of the men inside of them. Very close between Latvia, Moldova and Bulgaria as they enter the top of the home straight. The Croatian Oreskovic struggling here. He's trying to muster something in the last 50, but Artis Pasteur is going to hold on from that strong start here with a strong finish and a new season's best. And that will also be a lifetime best, 46.61 for Artis Pasteurs. I speculated he might have had his pacing wrong in that first 200, but I stand corrected. There he is with a brand new personal best and the win in this B heat.
I was just hoping we wouldn't see what happened to the Danish athlete Langer in the women's 400, because I can see the kind of fading and the fatigue in the closing stages, showing you just what an absolute beast the 400 metres is, and you know how difficult it is to train for, how many different styles there are of running it. But a great victory, albeit it obviously is a B race, but great performance and race win for Latvia.
Oreskovic was kind of yo-yoing through that race as well. He came back at Pastures a tiny bit down the back straight and then seemed to falter around the top bend and then came back in the last 50, but it wasn't enough to get the Croatian into the lead spot. He had to settle for second, but he looked very fatigued afterwards as well.
Good run from Bastos, I thought, though. I mean, he's gradually really starting to show good form. He's only 22 years of age. He's got plenty more to come. A little bit of time to close down, perhaps, on the quite long-standing Latvian record of 45.53 to Jānis Laitis, which has been on the books for 5 years. Back into the field.
We've got the final 4 throws to go in the women's hammer. Bianca Gabler firmly in the driving seat at the moment. She will throw last. The other athletes are going to have a shot at moving themselves up the board. Zelina Markeva here of Moldova, she is in 4th place. 65.86 her best. Second and third very close. Jakobsen 67.10, Guratz 67.01, and Markeva, she's looked a bit out of sorts today. She's not been incredibly happy with any of her throws. And her 6th round effort, apologies, quite lackluster, and I think you've got to have your balance totally on and be feeling really good to commit to that throw. And you could see here Markeva, there was no power behind it. A frustrating afternoon for the Moldovan, but she's got the job done, and 4th place, that will be a lot of points for her team. Next up, Rika Guratz of Hungary. She needs 10 centimetres to move up. After a shaky start, 2 fouls, she is doing well, and that could be a lovely throw here. She stares intently down the field. She knows that was good. Was it good enough? I wonder if the graphic on our screens is a bit misleading, because that does look over 65 metres, but I believe it was quite up towards 67 to the naked eye here in the arena. We'll have a look though. It is 67.15. That is enough to go up into 2nd place, just 5 centimetres ahead of Katarina Jakobsen. So Rita Guratz going from 2 opening fouls, sneaking herself into the top 8, and then here in the 6th round has moved herself at the moment up into 2nd. Can Katarina Jakobsen of Denmark respond? A good effort from Jakobsen there. Just falling out of the sky at the last minute. It was good speed. And it's not going to trouble that mark of 65.15 of Rika Guratz. But Jakobsen, similar to Guratz, a shaky start, a foul in the 1st round. And she's built this series up all the way to that 67.10 in the 4th round. It's going to be 3rd place for Denmark.
And see how, in contrast to the technique you commented on of Sava, that Jakobsen stands taller and holds the hammer higher, almost above her head.
Well, no, that's a height. You know, if you've got the height, I don't know. There's many complex things.
Make use
there.
of your lower centre of gravity if you're shorter,
Yeah, Jakobsen is significantly taller than the young Sava, who went out to a World Junior lead. But here is the winner, Bianca Gabler, with one last attempt to extend the mark she's put down here in Poland. It's not going to do it. That's around about 70 metres again. She's walked out the front, ruined her impeccable record. I would love to Bianca Gabler just to leave that out there, but perhaps it was going to be underneath 71 metres, and that would have ruined her scorecard anyway. But a good showing from Gabler as she builds momentum into yet another Global Championships. I'll be very surprised to see her outside of the top 8 in Budapest. She finishes 72.97 here in Division 2.
Yeah, another who takes consecutive victories, having won at the European Team Championships 2 years ago. So plenty of action still to come. Of course, we've got the men's 400 metre A race, which is next on the track. So Simon Bujna is the person who's hoping to make it back-to-back European Team Championships victories. Gustav Lundholm Nielsen was 3rd a couple of years ago. In between them was Slovenia's Luka Janezic, but they've got a different representative, as the Romanian just checking his hair in the camera. Don't know whether he can see his reflection. Michal Sorin Dringo. Over to the very serious-looking Serb Boško Kijanovic. Balkan 200-metre champion last year. Pohodilko helped Ukraine to a 4x4 relay win at the same Balkan champs. Tomas Keshulis, outright lifetime best indoors in the United States in February, 45.78. Attila Molnar, one of the most exciting athletes here in the Hungarian team, 44.98, a new national record last month for him, 21 years of age as well. So, as I say, an emerging talent. Gustav Lindholm Nielsen, 45.93 at best. Szymon Buzna, 46.32, effectively the defending champion in the equivalent event, and Rok Ferlan in the Slovenian green on the inside. He has 60 and 100 metre lifetime bests this year. Last year, his one full lap best time, 46.31. So it was 46.6 to win race B for Pastors of Latvia. Be confident that at least half the field will go faster than that in this A race. With Ferlan on the inside for Slovenia, then Buzna, Nielsen, Molnar, Kashulis, Pohodilko, Kijanovic and Dringo. Molnar waiting there, hands on hips, another who will want to build momentum heading into the World Athletics Championships in his capital city in Budapest. Buzna with the shades on, looking very cool, and temperature's just dropping a little. It's just getting a little bit more bearable as per the dry heat that we started off this session with, which felt very heavy. So Molnar in the green of Hungary in lane 5, the fastest athlete on paper. But how will this play out in reality? So, a fair few closely matched athletes in this, as we see Gustav Lundholm Nielsen make a decent start from lane 4 for Denmark. Hard to separate them. You've also got Dringo in the navy of Romania going well run on the outside. Perhaps just about leading at this point is Molnar, the Hungarian. Feet very close to the inside of his lane there. Tries to maximise what he can from this lap. Coming into the home straight, Molnar with quite a few chasers. Certainly hasn't won this one just yet. Pohodilko closest and trying to chase all of the time, but Molnar just has it. Goodness me, if I was Hungarian, I'd be really biting some nails in the closing stages there, especially some of the finishes that we've seen in the last few moments in the women's and men's races. A bit of a shake of the head from him. Maybe he knows it wasn't the perfect race, but still does take maximum points for Hungary. Pohodilko, well, it was very, very close in terms of times, as the Ukrainian improves his personal best by 0.03 of a second to be 100th of a second behind our winner.
Outstanding run by the young Molnar, who recently went off to Cyprus without telling anyone. He'd managed to negotiate himself a place in a meeting in Limassol because he knew he was in good form. The only person who knew about it was his coach, and he turned up in Limassol back at the end of May and then run that Hungarian record just inside 45 seconds. And that win, by the very tightest of margins, keeps Hungary in first place in the team competition after 4 events.
I was going to say, Hungary are having a lovely 20 minutes or so here. Loads of top threes. Mida Molnar on the women's 400 as well, coming in third, and Anita Martin and Gerrits in the women's hammer just snatching that second place in the closing stages. They're doing well today.
Yes, so far. They've got a few weak events coming up in the women's jumps, for instance, but they've got some other good events elsewhere. And the women's discus, which is coming up, probably not a banker for big points, but they should perhaps finish about 5th or 6th, let's say. But Hungary were predicted to be amongst the leaders in this competition. There's the women's hammer result.
Bianca Florentina Gabler taking the win, 72.97 from Rika Gerrits of Hungary. Good points there in that battle, 67.15. Important 5 centimetres ahead of Katarina Jakobsen of Denmark.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I said Albania would be strong earlier this morning, Phil said, but what about the technical events? Now, you can't really say that about Hungary, can you? Because they tend to be strong in quite a few of the technical events. A few, without a doubt. As I say, Hungary are amongst the favourites. There's the team standings after 3 events, and we do know that that doesn't include the men's 400 metres. Hungary after 3 events. That was the women's 400, women's shot put and hammer, leading with 45 points. Lithuania second with 35 points on the tie-break rules, just ahead of Romania with also 35 points. But another 35 events still to go. That is, a lot of difference potential there. Right, time to say hello to our friends in the triple jump and Grecu of Romania as we have a look at what happened in this first round then. Gliding through the 3 phases with really good height as he leapt then into the pit. Let's have a look at this opening effort for the European under-18 bronze medalist back in 2016. 15.36, the wind remaining fairly still as it was earlier this morning. Jan Luksa of Slovenia, who was second at the equivalent of this event 2 years ago. Looking a bit frustrated, the 8 times national champion does though improve with his second effort. This is Daniel Ingi Egilsson of Iceland, but not able to execute there. He has got that marker down of 15.08, which at the moment puts him in 6th place. We had some really big gaps between the top 3 and 4 athletes, a good 50 centimetres between each. He came in trying to give it everything, but the timing was just well off.
Here's a bit of trivia for you. Did you know that the Icelandic triple jump record is one of the oldest national records on the European books? It's stood since 1960 at 16 metres 70 to Einarsson, who won Olympic medal that year.
I didn't know that. That's brilliant.
I've been saving that up for weeks.
So, over to the Luxembourg athlete Louis Muller. Short of some of the 15-metre efforts that we've seen thus far. Just falling a little to the left in that final phase. 2 measurements coming up at once. 14.41 his best so far, which is a lifetime best. So Shepeliev 16.41 from the opening round for Ukraine, leading the competition.
Back to the track for our first endurance action of the day. It was a wonderful women's 5,000 metre battle between Luisa Gega of Albania and Lona Salpita of Israel this morning. Salpita trying her very best to run the sting out of Gega, but didn't manage it. 15.32 was the winning time. So it was hot this morning, as it is this evening. They've set out a drinks table on the back straight. And I think these women will have certainly shortened their warm-up and we'll have to see what the tactics unfold here. We've got a few marathon specialists down there who I think will not fancy leaving this to a sprint finish. Pegna Gerkis of Hungary is in a very good 15:14 this season. This 18-year-old from Latvia, Agat Kone, has done 15:12 and a new 1500 metre personal best. She's certainly one to keep your eye on. Sofia Nanova of Slovakia, Eleni Iano of Cyprus, Mendovic of Serbia. Then we move to the inside lane here. Klara Lukan of Slovenia, certainly one to watch, European under-20 champion, and back that up with a silver at the under-23 championships, both over 5,000. Maricheva of Bulgaria on the inside. She was 15th at the World Championships over the marathon last summer, so do not expect the Bulgarian on the inside to want to leave this pace dawdling. Scott Beljak of Croatia, 2:23 marathon runner, alongside Klara Lukan in the middle of the field as well. So I'd be very surprised if Micheva and Beljak leave this to a sprint finish. Klara Lukan straight to the front in the bright yellow vest there of Slovenia. New national record in Montesson, France at the Fast 5K on running event last weekend. 15:01, just a whisker outside the World Championship qualifying mark. A new national record at just 22 years old. Klara Lukan has got a fantastic future ahead of her. She has had a few injuries over the last 2 years. It's brilliant. I mean, seeing her battle with Marina Machado and Nadia Batacletti through the age group rankings, and they're all maturing into senior athletes fantastically well. Agate Kone of Latvia is just 18 still. He was 4th in Cali, Colombia in the World Junior Championships over the 5K, 6th over 3K in the same week, backing up a 6th place she took in Nairobi over 3,000 metres as well the year before. Still just 18. So we'll see her in Jerusalem at the European Under-20s in August, I'm sure.
Yeah, and she's half a minute faster than any other teenager in Europe this year, which is supremely impressive. 15:12 she ran in Karlsruhe at the end of last month.
Klara Lukan's just gone through the first 400 here in 72 seconds. That is a 15-minute pace, and that's impressive. I thought, I was looking at this field going, maybe she's going to go out at 74-75 second lapping and just make it fast enough that no one else has a go, but instead the Slovenian has just gone out at a 15-minute pace, and I mentioned that World Championship qualifying mark, that's 14:57, and Klara Lukan might have looked at these conditions today and gone, there's barely any wind here, could I possibly front run myself a world qualifying mark? It's aggressive running. I don't expect Klara Lukan to go all the way to 15 minutes, but perhaps she saw the 15:32 this morning of Louisa Geiger and thought, come on then, got to run something respectable here.
Yeah, fascinating for two young athletes to be at the front. Maybe they just, sometimes we say with young athletes, they don't have any fear, they just go out really bravely, or just really trusting the tactics of the coach that they have full faith in, perhaps we see sometimes. Yeah, but big contrast to the two very experienced athletes in that third division race early on, and as a result we thought that metronomic, quite even pace was as a result of them coming in with that experience, and then Louisa Geiger timing that so well by the finish. But it really will be fascinating if those two are still at the very sharp end in the final kilometre.
I was going to say, it's interesting to see that that's a great, really good fast pace that Klara Lukan has laid down, just coming up to the kilometre mark. But no less than 6 other women have decided to go with her, starting to tail out like the tail of a comet behind Lukan. But it's a really good pace at this stage. 1 kilometre in 3:01:88.
That's very nice from Klara Lukan, and she might have looked at this field here and gone, she's unlikely to get any help from anyone else. I mean, Agate Kone with 15:12 is brilliant, and the Latvian, I don't think she would have let this race be slow either. She ran very aggressively in the Trondheim Games in Bergen. She didn't come away with the win, but she went for it and was rewarded with a new personal best of 4:16. But I don't know that Kone would have had the nerve to lead this, and Klara Lukan is just content to whittle this field down, and hats off to the other women behind. It's a hot day, but they've stuck to their task. And I do wonder, this element of adding in the medals across the whole of the European Games, I think this could have an effect like this. Because you never know what's going to happen in the other races. They might go tactical. The first couple of kilometres might be slow, and then Clara Lucan might be sitting with her feet up later on in the week watching Division 1 going, God, I wish I'd gone for it. I think I could front run a 15.10, a 15.15, and that could have been enough to get me a medal.
Well, she's got the credentials, hasn't she? I mean, 2019 European 5,000 metre champion, silver medalist back in Yevla 2 years ago when Alex and I were commentating on that race. So certainly she's doing very well. And that 15.01 just not very long ago, just a matter of a couple of weeks ago, it was a Slovenian record. Maybe she's still feeling she's got a lot of running. I'll tell you what, I'd like to throw this back to you quite seriously, because we've got quite a lot of this race to unfold. Hannah, you've got a lot of experience at major team competitions like this. What do you actually think of Clara Lucan's tactics? Can you get inside her head?
I just think sometimes you know you're in the shape of your life, and Montesson last week, that was a phenomenal opportunity for Clara Lucan. She did very, very well, a 15.01. But you do wonder as an athlete, especially as Lucan has, you struggle with injuries, how many opportunities are you going to have in a season to run a World Championship qualifying mark, or just to run something great, and people are inspired by putting on their nation's vest as well. This isn't just another race on the circuit, and I kind of think if you're in good shape, then why not? You taper down, you've taken time off training. If you don't put a big old effort in today, there's a hole in your preparations there for the summer season.
Well, however this race unfolds, great kudos to Clara Lucan for taking this race on, and just Agatha Kauner going with her at the moment. Kauner well on course herself for a personal best, and I think we haven't mentioned it so far, but the championship record stands at 15.09.31 to Elvin Eblegassi, the Turk who ran that in 2010. At the moment, that's on.
Well, there you go. That's another motivation she's got up her sleeve then as well. If you look at 15.09 and think you can do it. I mean, the last couple of laps have slipped ever so slightly more to 73s and 72s. That 72 dead gives you that magic 15 minutes. You can see here the second kilometre down to 3:02. It's still very respectable. You could still lift and sprint at the end of a race here. But Clara Lucan is doing a lot of the work here. There's actual scientific research into the fact that it is harder to lead. It's not just to do with the wind, it's not just to do with everything else. There's lots of factors that it's mentally fatiguing, it's straining, it affects different athletes in different ways. You can see Victoria Wagner-Gurkis of Hungary content to lead this second group. She ran 15.14 last week, and you would have thought the pacemaking job that Clara Lucan's doing on the front would have been very attractive to Wagner-Gurkis, but this is probably the response I expect if you've just run a PB not that long ago. You're a little bit tired because you're here again, and the team championships have come round quite quickly. But Wagner-Gurkis is leading the battle behind her. She's got a good group of 5 there for company.
And it's worth remembering at the moment that Wagner-Gurkis is making sure that Hungary stay in pole position at these early stages of Division 2. Hungary leading quite nicely at the moment in the team standings after 4 events. Latvia also up there though at the moment.
Gate Kone just itching here. Maybe she sensed a bit of a drop in the pace. We didn't get a lap circuit there. I think we're doing the lap times from the start-finish line, and perhaps she's sensing that Clara Lucan's dropping her pace ever so slightly. Good group here. Ukraine, Croatia, Denmark and Bulgaria all lined up behind Hungary, but that tiny move from Kone seems to have woken up Clara Lucan ever so slightly. Slovenia have got some good hopes down here as well. Marisha Mishmash-Zimšek will go in the women's steeplechase, Tina Schutte in the pole vault, Anita Horvat. All those women could be doing very well, and they've got some strong men as well. There you can see 74 seconds for Clara Lucan. It is starting to slow ever so slightly, and Kone is pulling up alongside Clara Lucan.
How well aware are the group of women behind the leading pair of the slight slowing in the pace? There doesn't seem to be much dropping back. There's 5 women in that chasing group at the moment. How well aware would they be? Will there be coaches out there giving them some sort of indicator that even though there's about 60 metres between the leading pair and the chasing group, that it's still not all lost at this stage?
I think you look at it in the naked eye here in the stadium. There's around about 50 metres between these two and the chasing pack of 5. I think they'll stick to their task, that second pace of pack of 5. I've mentioned, you've got the marathoners in there as well. Machiva with her 2:29, Belyak with her 2:23. That they won't let that drop there, because every position matters to them and every position counts. So I think we'd have to see a real deceleration from these two if they were to go back to the pack. And Gote Kone is pushing at the front as well. This is the 3 kilometre split, so a 3:04.
On to the triple jump. We'll go back to the race in a moment. Valchev, Bulgaria, won the men's and women's triple jump on home soil in Stara Zagora 2 years ago, and Valchev gets the green indicator. So came in with good speed there, carried the momentum right through. Shepeliev of Ukraine still leading with 16:41 from the first round, 15:57 for Valchev as we head back to the track.
This is very impressive of Agate Kone. She's putting the pressure on here in the very nastiest stage in a 5k, 4th kilometre in a 5k. Nobody likes that. Apparently Agate Kone does, of Latvia, and she's just put her foot down here. And Clara Lukin, this is a physical and mental test here, because when you've led for 2.5, nearly 3 kilometres, and to have a youngster, an 18-year-old, blast past you, to have an insight into what's going on in Clara Lukin's head right now. She's a tough young woman. She will keep battling. But Agate Kone is just gliding away here. She might be only 18, but she is experienced. She will know her body and the feedback she's getting back from it. And she'll know that it's okay to push on here unless anything drastically changes with the hot conditions. Agate Kone could be running a very, very well judged 5 kilometres here. Could she possibly beat her personal best she set back in May, 15:12? That would be very impressive. Neither of the top two have taken on any water yet.
Well, what's also noticeable is not just the fact that she's suddenly put 15 metres and more between herself and Clara Lukin, but the distance between the leader, Kone, and the group who are contesting third place at the moment has extended from 60 metres to 80, 85 metres very, very quickly. Nevertheless, Sinenko, Bove, Bielak still there or thereabouts on personal best pace. All women with personal bests around the mid-1530s.
Agate Kone, this time she sees 3 to go. That will be a welcome sight to the young Latvian. Clara Lukin is managing to keep a good gap between herself and the chasers.
So Shepeliev, our leader in the triple jump, 16:41, but that looks like it could be an improvement. Gets the green indicator there. And what a series this is turning out to be. So he is just under a metre ahead of that jump from Valchev that we saw a moment ago, the Bulgarian. 16:53. Terrific stuff from the Ukrainian Shepeliev.
So it was a 3:06 for the 4th kilometre for Agate Kone. 12:13 through 4k, so she's not necessarily sped up. I think it could be more that Clara Lukin has slowed ever so slightly. The Slovenian still looks good, looks strong, full of running. The battle behind Sinenko of Ukraine and Wagner Gurkis of Hungary have managed to separate themselves ever so slightly. Bove of Denmark trying to get herself maximum points, but it's all spread out down here on the track. Agate Kone has seen 2 laps to go. Clara Lukin comes through the start-finish line. These two very much into the finishing stages. Grimace for the first time on the face of Agate Kone, as there should be. Could she be trying to lift this pace ever so slightly? She would need a 2:59 kilometre for a new personal best. That's tantalising, that's tempting. Agate Kone is looking behind and she'll see nothing but empty track. Her advantage over Clara Lukin at this stage, well over 50 metres. Clara Lukin just going through 600 metres to go. Agate Kone has these lap runners to aim at. That will help this young woman. As she looks up, she's going to see the bell. She might hope to get past these two before hitting the bend, avoid running any extra distance. She will just have a Kolbinsdottir of Iceland to aim at on this final lap from this point. But that was a 6:72. She has reduced her pace ever so slightly. It was a good time through one lap to go there. Could Agate Kone run herself to a new personal best? That would be phenomenal here. She'd have to say thank you to Clara Lukin. Clara Lukin really got this race running in the first couple of kilometres. She has run herself into second place very comfortably. Agate Kone of Lithuania trying to take the first win for the Lithuanian team, and at just 18 years of age, that would be a lovely win for Latvia. She takes 200 metres to go. She's striding away here with 150 metres to go. Her personal best, 15:12. It's going to be agonisingly close. She'll know it. She can see that clock there. I think she's going to be just outside. I don't think we're going to see a 14-second last 100 metres from the Latvian. Maybe we will. She's mustering here. She's got the athletes to aim at. This is a brilliant run from Agate Kone. Breaks the tape, 15:15, claps herself. And the stadium will clap her as well. That was very, very nice. Clara Lukin has managed to hold on to this second place. Victoria Wagner-Gurkas of Hungary is closing hard, but it will be second place for Slovenia and third for Hungary, continuing their very good opening part of their first day here in Division 2. Valeria Zinenko of Ukraine, that was an inspired fourth place from her as well, really outperforming her ranking. And she'll know how important points are to her team as well with their quest for promotion.
Let's just see. Zinenko, yes, she does get a personal best. She shaves her just over a second off her personal best. So she's rewarded for staying with the pace and following Wagner-Gurkas in that second group. But all credit, though, to Agner Kone. And, I think we're just looking forward to seeing what she can do at the European Under-20 Championships, which are coming up in Jerusalem in August, between the 7th to the 10th of August. And that, of course, will be live streamed via the European Athletics website, www.european-athletics.com, as we look at a replay with some of the highlights of that race, just in the early stages of the race, with Clara Lukin bravely taking it on, just coming 10 days after her 15:01 Slovenian record. Agate Kone doesn't look as though she's really working that hard at these early stages. This is when there were still 7 women together. That didn't last for very long, though. Clara Lukin, though, all credit to her. She really made this a really good race, and in the end they just weren't that far away from the championship best. Clara Lukin probably still having a little bit of that 15:01 in her legs as they negotiate the lapped runners. Here comes the bell. Just looking at Clara Lukin disappear into the distance. Agate Kone, nice shot of her just sprinting, trying desperately just to reduce her personal best. It's only a few seconds outside it, and in these conditions and under a team championship format, that was an outstanding performance.
You think of the pacemakers you'd expect to have in a race on the circuit, never mind the wave lights they've got going on now. 15:15, like you say, Phil, in a championship race is really, really good, and that does put her top of the European Games standings as well, much faster than Louisa Geiger's win this morning.
Yes, I was just looking while you were commentating over the final kilometre. Latvian record 14:47 has stood since 2000 to Jelena Prokupa, who went on to a very good marathon career, won the New York Marathon, I think. I'm sure that's in her sights now. Now we switch back to the field with the women's discus. Well, Dora Karekes. She's not, at the moment, one of the top 3 on this season's rankings, but Hungary are leading the way in this second division, and it's down to Karekes to keep them in contention. Here's Hera Christiansen of Iceland. Has improved this year. Well, she's just 17 years of age and has thrown 49.73. Saw her earlier, Stephanie Krumlovsky of Luxembourg. She was in the shot as well. Hanna Maria Kuppa of Estonia, 53 metres at best. Bezede, second this just a short while ago in the shot. Discus not her strong point. Just seen Zarin Kaite of Estonia, I should say Lithuania, 62.08. We're whipping through the women very quickly. Poznasevic of Serbia, followed by Androniki Lada of Cyprus. Well, we've seen Cyprus win the women's hammer. What can Lada do? Jabutkova of Slovak Republic and Kromina of Latvia will be the next 2 in the throwing order. Then we have the good Hungarian Dora Karekes has improved this year to 57.42, and that's going to be important points if she can perform close to her best. Todorova of Bulgaria, not one of the stronger throwers that we've seen in a Bulgarian vest over the years. Lungu of Romania, 52.31. She's improved this year, just 20 years of age. Doria Kozachuk of Ukraine, still a teenager, 18 years of age. Kozachuk. Lisa Brix Pedersen. Now, she's a very good thrower. She's been over 60 metres this year, one of just 2 women to have thrown over 60 metres. Here's the former European under-18 champion Maria Toj, and then Veronika Domjan brings the throwing order to an end. There's all 16 women in the women's 5,000 metres, led home by Agata Kone, 15-15-21 for the very talented teenage Latvian. And Clara Lucan, who's had a pretty storied career herself in the European age groups ranks, following her home. Good points for Slovenia in second. All the way down the line to Serbia's Mareja Nehadovic, bringing up the rear in just outside 18 minutes. So confirmation, Hungary leading the way after 5 events, 75 points, starting to open up a gap over Romania. 54 points from the Romanians. Latvia and Ukraine, 3rd and 4th respectively on the tie-break rules, 52 points, and just 1 point further back to Lithuania in 5th.
You mentioned that Latvian 5,000 record, 14.47. It's 1 second faster than the European under-20 record, Zola Budd's record, and Kauna is 4th on that all-time list, ahead of some great names like Caroline Björkeli Grobdal, Abeligesi, who has the championship record, Coco Klosterhalfen as well, so super impressive.
Yeah, I mean, she's going to go to Jerusalem as, without a doubt, the favourite for gold. Now, Hedda Christiansen, Iceland a little way down the team rankings at the moment. Christiansen, just 17 years of age, proved in a local meeting to 49.73, so this would be a marvellous opportunity in these conditions. Not super helpful, there's no quartering wind at all down there for the discus throwers. 44.17 for the Icelandic thrower. So Krumlovsky holds the national record in the shot for Luxembourg and also in the discus at 45.45, which she threw last year. Didn't have the best of shot put competitions, and that just falls a little bit short. She just walks out, so red flag for Krumlovsky.
Men's pole vault, the next field event to get underway. We'll bring you up to date with the men's triple jump in a moment's time. We saw a win for Alexander Auer of Austria earlier with 5 metres 2:10. Should be quite a few above that here. It was very, very hot this morning. I think it was quite tricky for the vaulter as well. There was a couple who didn't appear to be out of the competition based on failures, but stopped competing for one reason or another, and we suspected that the heat could have been a potential reason for that, but difficult to say. And here is Joe Sale of Luxembourg, 5 metres and 5, his lifetime best. Razvan Dorofti of Romania, so he hasn't gone over 5 metres just yet. Maybe this is the competition to do it. Of course, most of these vaulters have cleared their highest height indoors. Those tend to be the way, unless you're Mondo Duplantis and you can clear anything anywhere. Alan Czerny and Luka Tomic of Serbia. Nicodemus Laurinas of Lithuania, 480 at best. Torleifur Leifsson from Iceland. Asker Pedersen, so 5:03 in Sweden earlier this month for him. Erik Harmer of Estonia, European under-18 bronze medalist 5 years ago when the championships were held in Yor in Hungary. 5:61 competitor, so he'll be hoping to try and get at least in the top 5. Ivan Horvat of Croatia, 5:76 his lifetime best outright. European finalist in 2016 in Amsterdam. As we see Malakin of Ukraine, world under-18 silver medalist in 2015. Robert Renner in the colours of Slovenia, European senior medalist at those same European Championships 7 years ago. And Christos Tsamanis of Cyprus, Commonwealth Games finalist, he was 6th there. Valters Kreis hoping to continue Latvia's good form, 5:25 just over a week ago in Italy. Evgeny Enev for Bulgaria, 5:32 his PB indoors last year in Sofia in Bulgaria. And Marcel Noj, world under-20 finalist 2 years ago, 5:36 at best, 5:35 his outdoor PB. So this is our leader in the triple jump, Vladislav Shepeliev, 16:53 in the third round, and all of his jumps are over 16 metres, and they are all well clear of the competition. I mentioned that Levon Argasyan of Armenia jumped out to 16:36 earlier, and 2 of his jumps are better than that Shepeliev's.
Now, Ukraine over the years have had many well-known triple jumpers and the high jumpers as well. Shepeliev, the latest in a long line. Of course, circumstances in Ukraine very difficult at the moment for obvious reasons. Some of the team have been based in Ukraine over the western part, which has been less affected by the war. Many, of course, scattered across Europe at the moment in training camps in Portugal, Belgium and Germany with assistance, and European Athletics as well has been very involved in providing assistance to the European Athletics Federation in the immediate aftermath of the war.
Indeed, yes, I think their relay teams were based in Wales, in Cardiff for a while as well. So we just got that break in between the third round as the top 8 are settled and the order is changed from 8th to 1st. A little bit of a huddle, maybe it was a social catch-up or just discussing how things are going out in this triple jump competition, as we see this beautiful shot of the Stadion Slaski and go over now to the discus.
Yes, we have Yeva Zanankaite, one of the star athletes in this women's discus, one of 4 women to have thrown over 60 metres in her career and one of 2 this year. And that's about the 54 metre mark at the moment. Very early stages in this competition. So that takes the lead. Yes, 54.01. And a nice set of clear markings out there on the field for the women's discus. Very helpful, it has to be said, because sometimes it is a little bit of an educated guess to where some of the implements land. So, big thank you to the ground staff for helping me out in particular, and also my co-commentators Alex Seftel and Hannah England, who are bringing you this European Athletics Team Championships throughout the whole of the week, covering all 3 divisions. We had the 3rd division this morning, and then tomorrow and Thursday in the evenings of these 3 days it's going to be the 2nd division, and then we move on to the 1st division, the top 16 teams in Europe, 16 national teams contesting the world's premier team competition Friday, Saturday and Sunday. And Romania at the moment are in promotion position after 5 events, looking to get back into the top flight of European team competition. This is Andreea Lungu. Lungu, reigning national champion, 20 years of age. Well, we saw Bianca Hebler win the hammer just a little bit earlier. Something of a mentor to the rest of the Romanian throwers. So Lungu, 46.62, as we now look at Daria Kozachuk go into the circle. Ukrainian, just 18 years of age, improved at the end of May at the Ukraine Throwing Championships in Lviv to 46.93. So she will be eligible for those European Under-20 Championships that we were mentioning a little bit earlier in the context of various athletes, not least of which the 5,000 metre winner Agata Kaune. 45.13 for Kozachuk, not that far from her personal best. And now the very good Dane, Lisa Brix Pedersen. Well, Brix Pedersen, possibly with Zanankaite favourite for this competition. Pedersen, national record holder for the Danes, 61.29, which she threw last year. Bang on about the 55 metre mark. So she'll take the lead at this very early stage, coming to the end of the first round. That's a good starting point for Pedersen. She'll want to throw further, and she probably will have to, but it's something to build on. Pedersen made her name last year at the European Throwing Cup in Leiria in Portugal when she finished second. It's a bit of a surprise result at the time, but has gone on to be very consistent in the high 50s, low 60s. So Pedersen takes the lead with 55.41. As we now move on to the men's 800 metres. This is the first of 2 races. Interesting here that the fastest man in the field, the Lithuanian Simas Ratasius, hasn't raced this year yet. On the outside, Baldvin Magnusson, European Under-23 Championships bronze medal in Sweden 2 years ago. On his inside, Adrian Chodan of Moldova. Now the Bulgarian, Ivan Ivanovov, is actually a decathlete, won the national decathlon title 2 years ago. He's also a fairly useful 800 metre runner. 152 on his inside, Andres Holstlanger. Improved to 151 in Copenhagen at the end of May. So this is the man who I think might possibly be the favourite, along with the Lithuanian. Matis Espenjat of Luxembourg. Improved to 149.18 recently. Bertasius, better known as a 1500 and 5000 metre runner, has won no less than 30 national titles indoors and out over a variety of distances. And on the inside, Alexa Milanovic, 21-year-old Serbian. This the weaker of the two races. So from the inside, starting in lane 2, Milanovic of Serbia, Bertasius Lithuania, Espenjat Luxembourg, Bielek of Slovak Republic, Horst Langer Denmark, Ivan of Bulgaria, Jordan of Moldova, and Magnusson out on the outside, having to come the long way round at the break at 150 metres. As we get to the break, it is Ivanov. Well, he's a 152 man, but he's not hanging around. As you can imagine, he's got a 400 metre best of inside 50 seconds. So in addition to being a talented decathlete, he's also one of those rare decathletes that can also mix it at the middle distances. There's Ivanov coming up. Holstlanger on the outside. So just inside 55 seconds by 100th, 54.99. And they're all bunched together at this pace. This is good pace for this quality of field. Might well be a couple of personal bests in there in this competitive environment. Now Bertasius coming around. The Lithuanian trying to find a way through, perhaps short of racing speed. Perhaps Ivanov looked at Bertasius as the fastest man in the field, but realised he's really more of a 1500 metre man. And Ivanov, well, this is a real turn-up. Ivanov coming into the home straight. The erstwhile decathlete, a 152 man, now being challenged by the Lithuanian Bertasius coming around the outside. But it's going to be Ivan Ivanov hanging on for victory for Bulgaria. 149.33 unofficially, and a big personal best for a man who 2 years ago was the national decathlon champion in Bulgaria. Well, Simas Bertasius, good return to racing over 2 laps of the track, 149.55, and also inside 150, Matis Espenjat of Luxembourg.
That was a really well judged run there from Ivanov. He set his stall out and he kind of felt down the back straight he was just there to be shot at, and they were going to reel him in. They were all across the track down the back straight, but it was actually very well measured 800 metres, and as you say, Phil, from someone that, you know, his accolades sit in the decathlon, does seem to be developing into a middle distance specialist. Perhaps if you have to run a 15 in a decathlon, you're suddenly quite excited to only run an 800 rather than 10 events finished with a 15. Just a note on Aspenay of Luxembourg here. Lovely move down the back straight to get himself into a better position, and followed that up in the home straight and was rewarded well with a third. Bertasius, we'll see him in the 1500 tomorrow, so it's a good return to racing here for his outdoor season, over 800, and then we can see him in the 1500 tomorrow. But Ivanov with a gun to tape 149, that's very nice.
And at just 21 years of age, as we've talked about so often, and very much worthwhile repeating it, he'll be eligible for next month's European Under-23 Championships in Espoo in Finland. There's the results. Ivan Ivanov, so good they named him twice. 149.33, Simas Bertasius 149.55, and Matis Espenjat just a little bit behind, taking third for Luxembourg.
Okay, triple jump time. Zanitis of Latvia, as you can see, in 5th place. One of the reasons that it's taken a while to get through the rounds is that we do have 15 athletes all together as one group. You can see a solid series so far. He only needs to improve by 1 centimetre to go ahead of Vadim Doskolov, Moldova. Sandis Zanitis waiting this 5th round measurement. Well, look at that. 3 jumps within 4 centimetres. Very, very close. He's actually got Sendervi of Hungary 1 centimetre behind him. So significantly closer than that 3rd division competition that had massive gaps between our top jumpers. Here is Doskolov. So he also needs 1 centimetre to improve. It's Laszlo Valcher, Bulgarian front. So hop, step and jump in 1 continuous phase, carrying speed through. Trying to elongate that final phase, but in fact does get the red indicator, so won't be a valid jump, unfortunately. Heading towards the business end of this triple jump competition with 3 more jumps in this 5th round.
Heat A of the men's 800 down on the track here in the Stadium Slaski. It's an unusual sight down there for me. Lots of athletes sharing water. They are very, very hot down there. Every single man made their way to the start line with a bottle of water. They were throwing it over their heads, taking last-minute sips. This has been warm here in Poland. Christian Gabriel Viocco goes in lane 9. He's with a 1:47.78 in his season's best. Stavros Sepru of Cyprus goes in lane 8. The season's best of 1:48 from Ordegem, a Flanders Cup event there in Belgium. Yields so many fast times for our endurance athletes across Europe. Oskars Bamblas of Latvia goes in lane 7. This is his first race back in Europe after competing in the NCAA system. Jan Vukovic of Slovenia goes in lane 6. 47-second 400-metre runner, so handy speed. Mariano Blodek of Croatia goes in lane 5. He's the fastest in the field. 1:46.38 is new lifetime best set this season. Daniel Hula of Hungary goes in lane 4. He's got the fastest personal best. He's the only man underneath 1:46 for his lifetime mark. Jake Bajaj of Estonia goes in lane 3. He set his new lifetime best at the BMC event in Sport City at the end of May in the UK. Ole Mironets of the Ukraine goes in lane 2. 2-time Balkan winner over this event, over 800 metres. Now, just a reminder, all of these heats we have at the European Team Championships, they get combined on time. So you can't rest on your laurels. You've got to run a decent race. 1:49.33. Gun to tape winning time for Ivan Ivanov in heat 1. The 2 favourites in this race, perhaps Daniel Hula of Hungary, the only man under 1:46. That was set last season. And Marino Blodek of Croatia at 1:46.38. He's the in-form man, the tall man in the blue Croatian strip on the inside. But it looks like Stavros Spiru of Cyprus keen for the lead. Maybe too keen there. Trying to get himself ahead of Blodek. And Blodek just had time to up his pace a tiny bit, put himself in pole position. Even if you're not a natural front runner, being at the front is nice. It gives you a bit of a calmer ride. Maybe none of the pushing and shoving, but you are going to have to maintain your position. There's only one way to go from first, and that's down, unless you can maintain it all the way to the end. Mariano Blodek of Croatia in the lead at the moment. Good move around the outside from the Slovenian. 53.38 through the bell, easily faster than the opening heat. See a nice time here, and they're very closely bunched. Daniel Hula, the Hungarian, sitting in 3rd place. He's actually moved from 400 metre hurdles to 800, much like Patrick Dobek, the Polish athlete that got an Olympic medal. Looks like the Hungarian is very tactically astute there. He's tried to make a move down the back straight. He hasn't managed to get himself past Vukovic or Blodek. The Croatian and the Slovenian still battling at the front. Marino Blodek perhaps just starting to... No, he's gathering a sprint. I couldn't tell if he was starting to fatigue or getting ready to kick. Marino Blodek looks over his shoulder. Daniel Hüller trying to finish hard for Hungary. Hungary pulling up alongside Croatia. It's going to be a battle all the way to the line. And on the dip there, I think that goes to Daniel Hüller. We'll wait for the official result. At 1:47.11, the winning time. But who was it?
What a battle it was, and it looks like it has been given to Blodek, and if so, yes, that was a real lesson in how to run an 800-metre race. He had his shoulders out, he occupied the position that he wanted to have, and just goes to show not everyone can occupy the same space on the track. They all tried to come through. Eventually there was that breakaway of 3, as we have another look here at that fight for the lead between the Cypriot and the Croatian Blodek, and he only had eyes in front of him, and when it came to that last minute challenge, he was able to hold that lead right on the inside here.
That was very impressive from Blodek. I think that's anyone that wants to look at 800-metre tactics, you're right, Alex, that's bang on there. He got himself in good positions and he did enough to defend it. And you can do that in a physical way without breaking the rules of our sport. You protect that position, and you've got to put the effort in there. You've got to raise your pace and protect that position. But Blodek, he gave himself the shortest line to run as well. Daniel Hüller had to move around. He was going backwards, going forward, trying to get himself into a better position. Whereas the Croatian had mastered that in the first 200 and then just stayed there.
There was a point about 5 metres before the line when Blodek was second there. It was almost like he just timed his dip better, or he ran right through. Still 31 degrees, by the way. I think that's warmer than it was an hour ago, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's more humid than when we started this evening session. Extraordinary.
Well, there's a very slight breeze up in the stands where we're commentating, but it must be oven-like on the stadium floor.
Certainly is. Look at that, exactly the same time given to Blodek and Hüller. What about Hungary and their quest for team glory? It's a good position. Second is a lot of points, but if it's a thousandth away from being maximum points, let's hope that doesn't come back and cost them by the time we look at Thursday evening.
Yeah, there's no sharing points for getting the same time as there. So triple jump action. Last time we looked, we were in the 5th round. That's still the case because we've got these very big rounds with these 15 athletes. So the Moldovan Vadim Doskalov, just the 2 valid jumps, but he's in the same position he was previously then. Needs 1 centimetre to improve. Unfortunately not, so just struggled in the second half. Another red indicator. Looks to be moving a little gingerly as well. So yes, apologies, in this 6th round here, and Viktor Morozov of Estonia retiring after the 4th. So just 7 competitors having their final goes now. So we wait for all the results to come in. Still a good handful of points at the moment for Moldova. Lashazar Valchev. So I mentioned that Georgi Sonov winning the maximum points for Bulgaria in Stara Zagora on home soil a couple of years ago. Valchev 96 centimetres off our leader, Vladislav Shepeliev of Ukraine. He needs 9 centimetres to improve here and go up past Daniel Egilsson of Iceland. Has been a strong series so far. Can he go one better? In the final round, Valchev of Bulgaria. That was very close on that board. Does get the green indicator. I'm not sure that's going to be enough, though. Shepelyev's mark, European under-23 leading one. And of course, we've mentioned those European under-23 championships in Finland coming up next month. Wow, look at that, 15.56. So it was 1 centimetre off what he has managed so far. Over to the discus.
Yes, it's Lisa Brix Pedersen, event leader after the first round, 55.41. And that looks better. That looks quite considerably better. Probably about a metre or so better than her first round effort. So that'll consolidate her lead. Discus bouncing around the turf here at the Silesian Stadium, or if you prefer, the Slasky Stadion. 56.33, so an improvement of just under a metre for the Dane in the lead in the discus.
Daniel Ingi Egilson did wonder whether he'd have to respond to Valchev's improvement, but unfortunately from the Bulgarians' point of view wasn't able to do so. It's a massive gap to the leader Shepelyev on 16.53, but Egilson just closing it slightly, 15.82 for him, so also edging closer to his lifetime best of 15.98. Don't forget Argasyan overall with 16.36 earlier. There was some very good triple jumpers in that comp. Also Alexis Capello of Azerbaijan, European indoor and outdoor medalist in the past. Shepelyev, though, can he add gloss to what will be maximum points? He has looked sprightly and smooth through the phases, carrying great speed and really launching off that runway. So 16.67, once again improving that European under-23 leading mark, and also improving on his personal best now through this competition by 33 centimetres.
It's very nice off Shepelyev, and as athletes are perfectionists, and so are the coaches, they're still talking about what could have been better. An immediate debrief is very useful whilst it's fresh in your mind, but that's a wonderful day for the Ukrainian. And maximum points for his team as they bring some of their big hitters in tomorrow and Thursday.
Yeah, his coach talking about what could have been better, but then ending with an applause, but well done.
At the moment, Ukraine a little bit away off the lead in the second division, but as you said, we've got some big hitters coming in over the course of the next 2 days. Now, this is Cooper of Estonia, and just sends it straight into the cage. She's in 8th place at the moment, so she's got a nail-biting time. She's got another 15, I should say 13 women to come after her, many of which could potentially overtake her. So a red flag for Cooper. 48.57 for the Estonian. Still looks as though she's enjoying her trip here to Horzo. And a rather splendid town it is. No, Horzo's been here since about the 12th century. Ooh. We'll have to get out in the town at some point.
Don't remember it back then. I feel like it's changed a lot.
A little.
So, full result there before we get carried away with local history. Shepelyev making a bit of history for himself at 16.67 marks, so 31 centimetres better than Argasyan of Armenia this morning, who remains second overall.
Back to the track, more endurance action. Men's 3,000 metre steeplechase. Mehul Karabana took the win this morning in Division 3, 8:48. There's some men that have run close to that, but that could be a respectable time from this morning. That might hold. Depends how tactical they get, especially when you look at that team standings. Hungary still out front by 19 points ahead of Ukraine. They've had a good last few minutes. And Romania holding on in there.
First glimpse of pole vault then. 5:05 clearance there for Horvat of Croatia. So we've got two pools of athletes alongside one another, and once again similar to the events up to 800, it's going to be an aggregate results with best clearances noted. And Horvat, one of the best in this competition, 5:76 his PB. Great win for the Croatians a few moments ago with Blodek in the 800. Horvat, who was 7th at the European Outdoor Championships in Amsterdam 2016, and same place a year later indoors. And then this is Christos Tamanis, Cypriot. His best is 5:30. As you can see, he's just entered this competition as well. Now, well, he came in with good speed, and then it all began to just slow down in terms of momentum a little once he hit that 12 o'clock position, as they call it, with his feet in the air. Just didn't carry that through. It was all slowing down, but certainly the potential is there. As we said, 25 centimetres higher is his lifetime best achieved recently. I'd say there are 4 or 5 athletes who could win this, and probably have a few of them going at the same heights alongside one another, because there was a crazy competition this morning where we saw passing at alternate heights, as Crace, who was wearing the backwards cap before, has now revealed some incredible hairstyle. I do not know how to describe that.
It's like a zebra.
Yeah, it's some sort of
but with like a blonde
animalistic,
zebra, yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah. I mean, when you go to the hairdresser, what do you even ask for?
You think he went to a hairdresser?
Maybe it's one he did by himself. Difficult to say. Let's hope we can judge him on his vaulting. Just trying to climb there with those feet and up and over the bar. Someone in the crowd recording that to have a look back. It has technique.
I like that combination there. I think there was one person watching with the naked eye, the other person filming, and then he can combine those two feedback systems. Lots of coaches. I remember Roman Chevrolet at the European Indoors. He was sitting there, not a bit of technology in sight. It was all done with the naked eye. So I think everyone has their preference, and it looked like the coaching team here for the Latvian were kind of combining both things to give feedback.
So from one field event to another, it's Ieva Zarankaite of Lithuania in the third round. Zarankaite down in third place at the moment with 54.09. Just behind Domjan of Slovenia and Pedersen of Denmark at the moment. Lithuania contesting the promotion places at this stage on the first of 3 days in the second division. That's a bit better. 55.39. I think that moves her up into second place for the Lithuanian. And let's be honest, you do expect the Lithuanians to be able to throw a discus one way or the other over the years. They've produced some pretty good discus throwers, usually with the family name of Lechner. Yeah, I get it, but all the same, there's somebody who can coach up there in Lithuania. Now, Laura Karekes, Hungary in fourth place at the moment. 53.91. So she's getting good points at the moment. currently tallying 13 points for the Hungarians, and that's just shy of the 55-metre mark. So good effort from Kerekes. In these conditions, it's going to be difficult to get personal best. There's no help at all from the conditions out there. The air is dead, and that is extremely good throwing under the circumstances from Kerekes to come up with a throw, well, barely 2 metres down on your personal best. So 54.03 for Kerekes, consolidates her place in 4th in this competition, and it keeps Hungary at the moment reasonably comfortably in top spot on this first day of 3 in the 2nd division.
Hungary, I think that men's triple jump was the first competition they weren't in the top 3 today, the first event. I think we're still up there-ish, maybe 4th or 5th or so it was fine. But they've broken that perfect record they've had all day today of top 3 finishes in every event.
Oh, with 37 events, I think there's going to be 1 or 2 more. But as I say, the prediction charts do suggest Hungary are going to be battling for those top 3 promotion positions. And of course, further down, Slovak Republic, Iceland and Cyprus are currently occupying the bottom 3 positions, and they'll want to try and avoid dropping down to the European Athletics Team Championships 3rd division in 2 years' time in 2025. We do know the 1st division is going to be held in Madrid in 2025. We'll wait and see where the other divisions are going to be held when we get in a short while.
So now we are ready for the men's steeplechase. Palakovits of Hungary, one of the athletes to watch. He'll be right on the inside, and maybe he'll be aware of that team total and how it's going, and maybe he'll just be trying to have his very best race he can. I mentioned that mark from Division 2 from Karabana, 8:48, hopefully a minimum target for these men. They've got Zhumkis of Latvia on the outside. He's another athlete underneath 8:50. There's a few of them in this field. Hilnor Andresson of Iceland. Hasn't been as good as steeplechaser. Looks like he's been on the roads a little bit more than on the track in the last few years. Jakob Abrahamsen of Denmark. He's got a season's best of 8:48. That's the best mark this year across this field, and a personal best of 8:30. That's very handy. There's Balabanov of Bulgaria. He's not raced outdoors this season. Looks like he's been over racing in the States, but he is an 8:39 competitor at his best. Istvan Palkovits of Hungary. He's got the fastest personal best, 8:23. And I rewrite my comment about fastest season's best. It's with him. Palkovits went 8:27 in Bergen at the Trondheim Games. So if you've got that leg speed, you've gone underneath 8:30 already. Palkovits on the inside there could maybe try and lead this race, see it as another opportunity for good points and a good time. Balabanov of Bulgaria going to the front. 7.5 laps, 35 barriers, 6 water jumps. They skip it the first time. Balabanov almost looking at it. He's probably looking at the rest of the field behind him, maybe getting his heels clipped, but it looked like he was glaring at the water jump, saying, "I'll see you in 400 metres." Balabanov and Palkovits already starting to open up a bit of a gap there. Valencius of Lithuania in 3rd. As these athletes have got an opportunity to run well here. Abrahamsen of Denmark going wide over the first barrier. We've had many developments in the European Team Championships to do with trying to entice people to run faster times. I think in the shorter events it's worked really well when you've got 2 heats of 8 and you know it matters when those times are combined. But we had Devil Takes the Hindmost back in 2009, and I'll always remember that because the steeplechase barrier here, when you have an indoor water jump, is straight after that finish line, and that was incredibly entertaining. Athletes sprinting for the finish line, slamming on the brakes because they'd managed to keep themselves in the race, and then getting over a hurdle. So I mean, it was entertaining, but I'm glad they didn't continue it.
Yeah, entertaining, but isn't the general thought that the athletes don't like that format?
Yeah, it's not. I've never heard an athlete say they've enjoyed doing it. It's very painful. It totally ruins your chance of running a respectable time. I think their hope was that it would keep the races moving, but in reality it just created this panic around the finish line. I remember Natalia Rodriguez getting disqualified and refusing to drop out and going on to win in the fastest time in the 3K, but it wasn't in the results. So it was but hey, you've got to try these things. Innovation in sport is necessary. But I think I'm enjoying this week when they're combining the times across the different divisions for a bit of a look at how the different divisions stack up against each other as well.
And I'm sure, as we were seeing, and with Miklos's time in the 400 metres, certainly probably vying for medals over the course of this entire week, that there will be Division 2 and just possibly Division 3 competitors on the medal table. Coming back to that devil take the hindmost concept, I could see its value in a one-day meeting when there's money on the table and athletes are motivated and they're looking for a new entertaining format. But I absolutely did not see any place for it in a national team competition. It just didn't, and it didn't work out in practice, as you said. I think it was, I'm very glad to see it was dropped. I wouldn't mind a bit of entertainment and, let's just say, format diversity in one-day meetings, but not in a competition where national pride is at stake.
Lovely first kilometre here from Istvan Palkovic of Hungary, 2:51. I've often thought, what if you gave some bonus points for a particular time threshold, an extra point if you also run to say under 8:30 in this event, and that could incentivise athletes. But Palkovic here, he's hurdling supremely well. His water jump was phenomenal. You've got one foot slightly wet. He doesn't look like he needs any extra motivation at all. 2:51 for the first kilometre. You'd always expect the first kilometre to be a little bit faster. You've got less barriers. You haven't got the water jump. But Palkovic here putting on a bit of a masterclass. There's Abrahamsen of Denmark trying to go with him.
I have to say, Hannah, I like that idea of, let's not get too out of context, but I think having a couple of extra bonus points here and there for times, let's just say European lead times or 10th on the European yearly list, I think that would actually be a very valuable innovation.
We haven't seen any real tactical races so far this evening on the endurance side. It's entertaining. It's an element of our sport that I loved competing in a tactical race. I can understand why it's not always attractive to the viewer. Because it's not exciting until the closing stages, but then it's very exciting. Whatever. Our athletes seem incentivised enough so far, I'd say, here today in the races we've seen. Perhaps not necessary.
No, I think it's also because of some of the personalities that we've had, like Clara Lucan and Agatha Kaune, pushing the pace in the women's 5,000 metre earlier, and this man, Istvan Palkovic, really pushing hard, probably trying to aim for a very good time, and of course trying to keep Hungary in pole position.
So check out this water jump event again from Palkovic. That's very, very nice. Steps on it, gets a good foot plant, pushes off the top. And the further into the water, the further out of the water you can get, the less energy it takes to get you back up and running. Abrahamsen and Balabanov behind are hurdling very well, but look at this pack here. When you're in a group and you're getting jostled and you're getting pushed, that's when you really cost yourself time on sort of your maximum ability. It's very different, say, from a 5k where you want to be tucked in a group, you want as much help as you can get. A big pack like they've got from 4th onwards in this race, they're actually going to probably be slowing each other down at this stage. The gap Palkovic has over Balabanov and Abrahamsen, it's not growing necessarily. These two working very, very well together. Balabanov just getting himself ahead of Abrahamsen. We might see a 2 kilometre split. I think they will have gone through 2 kilometres there on the back straight. 5:47. I think that might be the time for those two rather than for Palkovic. I think the 2k mark is just before that barrier on the back straight, but I might be wrong.
So the top 3 nations are the same top 3 as it was 2 years ago in Stara Zagora, and 2 of the exact same athletes. It was Palkovic 3rd on that occasion, Abrahamsen 2nd, and a different Bulgarian, Mitko Tsenov, who won in 8:33.
Balabanov just looks like he was relaxing for the first 2 kilometres and then trying to push on. This is his first steeplechase of the season and his first outdoor race as well. He's done some 3,000 metres indoors stateside, just about underneath that lovely 8-minute mark. which is a target for so many male 3,000 metre runners. But Balabanov having a good steeplechase opener. Palkovic already the class of the field with that 8:27 from Bergen, and he's shown it here.
Well, at the moment we're looking at 8:45 pace, and that's a very, very good time indeed for a Division 2 contest. Championship record 8:25.50 by Jan Koal in Braunschweig back in 2014. We're not going to get close to that, but this is a great effort from Palkovic at the front here. He's no doubt at all he's going for glory here for Hungary, and a good time as well. He's run faster this year already, but this is an excellent outing from the Hungarian, and he looks very relaxed at this stage as he comes up to hear the bell.
Palkovic, for the very first time, he wasn't as slick off the hurdle. He was just collapsing ever so slightly, perhaps took it on his bad leg. He looked good there. Balabanov has come alive in this final kilometre. He's full of running. He's going to run out of track. I don't think he'll get back on terms with Palkovic, but Balabanov, I think, could have potentially lived with a Hungarian athlete, maybe. But Istvan Palkovic using the big screen that's up above each of the bends here in Poland, just to check he's got no one for company. Palkovic swinging wide to overtake. He's gone through 300 metres to go. It'll be at 200 metres to go. It's a short 200, 8:15 on the clock as he comes over the barrier. Should be underneath 8:40, which is a good front-running performance here. Istvan Palkovic safely over, as is Ivo Balabanov. One last barrier for Hungary and maximum points. He navigates it safely. Starting to look a tiny bit laboured in the last 400 metres, but Istvan Palkovic stretching away just a shade outside 8:40. Ivo Balabanov, more good points for Bulgaria in second. There's a massive sprint on there. The bunch pack have finished really well in the minor places. It was still third for Abrahamson, but it looked like the Croatian athlete Belcic there just coming through for fourth place. He punched the air. He looked absolutely delighted. There he is in fourth place with the season's best.
Made it look so easy, did Palkovic. He was just able to maintain such a calmness as much of anything. He was a little bit careful on that last water jump, that potential last slip up, if you like. Balabanov potentially, if he'd only kept a bit closer, maybe could have made it a little interesting on that last lap. But Palkovic, yes, third 2 years ago and first this time around for Hungary, so another very strong result for them. And also maybe one reason why Palkovic really wanted to go out there strongly early on in his season is because high quality steeplechase races, unless you're regularly in the Diamond League, are really hard to find, aren't they? So making the most of the opportunity as much of any of the other event competitors.
And I think that's what, when you create good environments across the divisions, and it becomes an opportunity for athletes to attack fast times as well. I think that's brilliant. I think it raises the quality of the event, and this stadium here is built a tremendous reputation for fast times on the circuit in those one-day events. They host Poland's first ever Diamond League here, so I think when athletes would have been picked for this team and seen the venue, it would have given that extra bit of impetus to say, I can represent my country, get as many points, and maybe just run a nice time as well.
Yeah, Poland is so trusted when it comes to either hosting international championships or one-day events, not least in the difficulties and getting through all of that around coronavirus times, when we had those European Athletics Indoor Championships in Torun under really tricky circumstances. But yeah, it was almost like getting the Diamond League was a reward for the Polish for all the championships that they've hosted and great events that also have in their names some of the greatest Polish athletes.
There's the results for the men's steeplechase. Istvan Palkovic, maximum points for Hungary, 8:43. Ivan Balabanov, 8:47. Second place for Bulgaria, and it was third place for Abrahamson of Denmark. Also underneath 8:50. So They do surpass this morning's mark of 8:48, so those are the fastest steeplechasers we've had today.
So after 8 events, it's Hungary still in the lead, and now 27 points difference between the Hungarians and Ukraine in second place. 126 to 99 points, with Romania occupying at the moment the third promotion spot, 95 points, 10 points ahead of Latvia in fourth. And down at the bottom, well, we have Estonia, Serbia and Luxembourg occupying the last 4 positions, but it's very close there as well. Cyprus just out of the relegation zone at the moment, but only 8 events contested. Another 29 to come. As we now look at the third round of the women's discus, but Maria Tolj, former European under-23 champion, once seen as the heir apparent to Sandra Perkovic, hasn't really come through. But as I say that is a really good throw indeed, close to the 60-metre mark from Maria Tolj. No Sandra Perkovic in this competition. Of course, she does hold the championship record. A little way ahead of these women. Perkovic's championship record, a mammoth 68.59 in Varaždin back in 2019. You were there, weren't you, Alex? You remember her throwing that?
Absolutely, yeah. Terrific young thrower. But we've seen so many great young throwers come through, and as we were saying, yeah, to master some of those events at a young age as well.
So now Dora Karekes, we're now in the fourth round. That throw by Tolj, which took the lead, just recorded from a short while ago while we were really enjoying that very entertaining steeplechase race. Now down to 8 competitors. A couple of personal bests further down the field. We've seen Miliška Poznanović of Serbia. We'll see. We haven't seen her during the course of this transmission, but I'm sure we will over the course of the last few minutes. But in 5th place, just ahead of Poznanović, is Karekes. 54.03 for Karekes in 4th place at the moment. This is Domjan in 4th. Well, at one point she held 2nd in this competition. 55.14. Now this is her 4th round throw. Domjan 12th earlier this afternoon in the shot put, but this is by far and away her better event. Looks as though it's, I was going to say, close to the 55-metre line. Just waiting for confirmation. Well, the mark taking a little while to come through. I'm not sure the measuring equipment is getting entirely happy in all this heat. Well, she's waiting anxiously, so are we. I think that was a good throw from Domjan. Zarankaite is in front of her in 3rd place with 55.39. So she needs to improve by 25 centimetres to move up a place. And the results are still blinking away. Maybe they were looking at the legality of the throw as well, but it wasn't a bad effort. So it's been given the white flag, 55.73. So it is an improvement, and it does move her up into 3rd place once again, after being pushed down from 2nd to 4th. Now, Eva Zarankaite, how can she respond? She's just seen a nudge down a place to 4th. That's not going to be an improvement. She's thrown over 55 metres, 55.39 in the last round. perhaps just got the angle of delivery just a fraction too high. I'm sure there's discus coaches that might be able to add. Well,
don't need any translation.
55.74. Nevertheless, she's not happy with it, but it is an improvement for her. And 55.74 does take her back into third place, 1 centimetre in front of Veronika Domjan of Slovenia. Now, Lisa Brix-Pedersen led from the opening round until Maria Tolj unleashed her 57-metre throw. Doesn't look too happy, Brix-Pedersen, with that effort. Threw over 60 metres at the European Throwing Cup back in May in Leiria. Well, this is an improvement, and yet she was pretty disgruntled by it. 57.87, and that does take her back into first place. You wouldn't have known from the expression on her face. So, Maria Tolj now back in second place. So, everything changing around at the top of the leaderboard in the women's discus, but that's a foul, so no need for the judges to measure it. Get the repetition of that. She doesn't like it, and so steps forward and makes it a deliberate foul. So now we go back to the start of the fifth round. Lungu. Well, the Romanian lying in 8th place at the moment with 48.68. That's better. 50.54, but it doesn't move her up any places though. She's still about a metre adrift of the Cypriot Lada, who's in 7th at the moment. And here is Lada. Cyprus, as I say, just one place above relegation at the moment after 8 events, but they have already had a victory this afternoon thanks to Valentina Sava in the women's hammer. So 52.52, an improvement for Andronaiki Lada. Has a personal best of 59 metres going back 3 years. That moves her up a place as well. She overtakes the woman who's up next, Miliška Poznanović. I have to say I was expecting Poznanović into the circle, but instead we have Dora Karekes. Dora Karekes keeping the Hungarian points tally rolling along. That's not a bad throw from Karekes. .54.10 for Karekes. So a slight improvement for her by 7 centimetres. Doesn't change her position though. Now Domjan, 55.73, the best in this competition in the last round. That won't be an improvement, just about a metre short of the 55-metre line. So 54.40 for the Slovenian. There's the current standings. Still 3 women to go in this 5th round. So Yeva Zarankaite needs to improve by just over a metre to move up to 2nd place. That is a good throw. I think that's an improvement, but is it enough to take 2nd place? Not too sure about that. Zarankaite, 55.74 to her name. In front of her, Maria Tolj, 57.06. And that's what it's all about. It's getting every point you can in this competition. $57.71. So she does move into 2nd place. So good competition from Yeva Zarankaite, responding to the pressure. Doing a good job for her country, Zarankaite. As is this woman, Lisa Pedersen. So she's seen Zarankaite throw 57.71. She's 16 centimetres better with her effort in the 4th round. This brings the 5th round to a close, and then it's just 4 women to throw. Oh, that's over 55 metres. Is it as far as that last round? Once again, almost bemused look on the face of the 26-year-old Dane. 57.52. Not that far off her 4th round mark. So it's just Domjan, Tolj, Zarankaite and Pedersen to contest the 6th round. Wasting no time at all. It is Tolj into the circle. Tolj still having her 5th round effort, but that's only just over 55 metres, so that's not going to change anything. Tolj, of course, starting the 5th round, the 4th round in front. So consequently, the last to throw. $55.45 for the Croatian. So now down in 3rd place, Maria Tolj, but she has 1 effort remaining. Certainly, historically, has the capabilities of going over 60 metres and challenging for the lead here. Has to be said, this is rather neatly gone to form. The 4 women who've thrown over 60 metres in their career are all going to be the 4 women who are in the last round of the women's discus. Everybody else, and you can see them there, are packing up and going to the changing room. Their day's work is done. Still 4 competitors remaining in this competition. Just as a reminder, we've also got the pole vault coming on in the field as well. We'll bring you up to date with that very shortly. 2 pools going on in the pole vault. Actually, while we're sorting themselves out, Alex, I know you're keeping track of that. Give us an update.
For sure, yes. As you say, 2 pools. With the best of the athletes, we had 5 clear at a height of 5.20, and then 2 Ivan Horvat and Vladislav Malikin of Croatia and Ukraine respectively have gone over, first time of asking, at 5:30. So that's how it is so far.
Okay, nicely done. We'll be back at the pole vault shortly. This is Veronika Domjan of Slovenia in 4th place at the moment with 55.73. Needs to improve. Maria Tolj ahead of her, 57.06. And I don't think that's going to be good enough to move her up any further than 4th place. But on career form, she was ranked 4th. She will take 13 points away from this competition. So now Maria Tolj, 64-metre thrower at the best. Hasn't been in that sort of form for a year or two. That's well over 55 metres. In front of her, Yeva Zarankaite at 57.71. So she's looking for a 65 centimetre improvement on her 3rd round effort, which gave her the lead at the halfway point. Don't think that was good enough looking at that replay though. 57 metres exactly. So Maria Tolj stays in 3rd. So now just 1st and 2nd places to be contested. Yeva Zarankaite, 57.71 for the Lithuanian. Well, 11 national titles in both the shot and the discus to her credit. No, that's not going to be an improvement. That's at around 53.5 metres. Well, you didn't see it on camera, but I was watching. She just walked out of the circle. Yeva Zarankaite takes 15 points and 2nd place for Lithuania with a best of 57.71. Perhaps ruining a missed opportunity for Zarankaite, but it is difficult conditions. Nobody's gone over 60 metres. Nobody's even got close to 60 metres in this airless stadium at the moment. The discus throwers do sometimes go chasing the wind, notably at the early season competitions, and a good quartering wind certainly helps loft the discus a few metres further. Now, 16 points, maximum points already secure for Denmark. That's a good effort, that's a really good effort. That might well be the best throw we've seen in this discus competition. She already owns that mark with 57.87. That could well be a slight improvement. There goes, sails past the 55-metre mark by several metres. Well, Pedersen, is she going to finish with a flourish? Yes, she is. 59.20. That completes the competition and gives Lisa Brix Pedersen 16 points, maximum points for Denmark. The best throw of the competition with the very last throw of the competition.
Fantastic. It was a real clean flight through the air there. Do you know, last week I took part in a quiz. It was Say What You See. Question number 1, a picture, a discus. How easy is that? Couldn't guess any of the other things. There was something like toe separators, bulldog clips. Discus, easy.
We'll get back to how much you had to pay the quizmaster later, but let's confirm the results, and it was Lisa Brix Pedersen with that 59.20 throw, followed by Yeva Zarankaite of Lithuania and Maria Tolj of Croatia. That was the 1, 2, 3 in the women's discus.
Okay, so catching up with the pole vault, and this is the clearance from Horvat at 5:30, quickly followed by Malikin of Ukraine. You can see this is only the second night he's entered in this pole vault competition. It's been going on for some time. And Edi Kahama of Estonia now. So he goes clear. Second attempt, just like he did 490. Puffing out of the cheeks. Then our leopard head or something similar Steeplechase of Latvia, once again on the smartphone, which Hannah says she insists that they didn't have when she was young. Can't be right. So third attempt then at 5:30. Oh my goodness, that was an audacious attempt as his hairstyle almost. He seemed to have lost momentum, was climbing like he was treading water, and just as it looked like he had all the height, he brought the bar down. This is, somewhat unconventional. Have a look at this. So feet up to 12 o'clock, ridiculous amount of height, and almost held the bar arm in arm.
It's the problem when you hit a jump so good like that, the speedy popped off the top of the pole. If you've never experienced that before, don't experience it very often, being able to control that could be very, very tough.
Absolutely. But seeming as though the potential is there at least.
Right, back to the track and the first of two heats in the women's 100 metres. Class act on paper is the woman in lane 2, Marina Andrea Baboy. It's also the very good teenage Ukrainian in lane 5, Diana Honcharenko. Is someone you should look out for. There's Baboy, finalist at the European Under-23 Championships on the last two occasions. Fastest woman in this field with 11:50, I should say. Björn Björnadottir from Iceland, 11:56 personal best. There's Radina Velicheva. Well, Velicheva, just 15 years of age, but she's already run 11:68. Honcharenko, 18 years of age, has improved this year to 11:61. The fastest woman in the field on current form. Via Penazic of Croatia on her inside. Another young teenage athlete, just 16 years of age. Lucia Popnik of Slovenia. There's Eva Missionaite, 11:52, her personal best. Came last year. And on the outside, Diana Podoleanu of Moldova. Hasn't broken 12 seconds this year. Might struggle a little bit in this class of competition. So, as they settle down for the penultimate women's track event of this first day here at the European Athletics Team Championships. From the inside, Baboy of Romania, Björnadottir Iceland, Velchicheva of Bulgaria, Honcharenko Ukraine, Penazic of Croatia, Potnik Slovenia, Missionaite of Lithuania, and Podoleanu of Moldova on the outside in lane 9. And it is Honcharenko who's got away very well. So too is Baboy. And it's the women in lanes 2 and 5 at the moment who are contesting this 100 metres. Now Baboy starting to go backwards, and Honcharenko comes through 0.9 metres per second, unofficially 11:55, a personal best without a doubt for the 18-year-old Ukrainian sprinter Diana Honcharenko. Delight for Honcharenko, delight for Ukraine. And that could match up quite well against some of the times in the heat to come. There we go. Big smile for Honcharenko. And I'm sure the Ukrainians are going to be really one of the teams to beat when we get to the 4x100 metres as well. And she's going to be such an important part of that. Focus on lane 5. Also at this stage on the inside in lane 2, Baboy having a really good race.
It's interesting that some of the sprinters seem to be among some of the youngest athletes. It could be to do with that's one of the events where you tend to peak a little earlier on. But yes, she came into this season with an 11.9 lifetime best, so that's 0.4 seconds, which is quite a chunk that she's taken off for 100 metres. And it was quite a distance for a 100 metre race between her and the rest of the field, which included the youngest athlete in this second division, which is Radina Velicheva, as you said, just 15 for Bulgaria.
So Honcharenko rising to the occasion for Ukraine. Well, there's the 1, 2, 3 at the moment. The officials just sorting them out. Honcharenko confirmed personal best of 11.55. Just behind her, Potnik coming through strongly, and Misionite 11.68 for both of those women. Potnik getting the verdict with a couple of thousandths of a second, and we'll bring you the full result, I hope, shortly. But you can actually catch up with all the results on the European Athletics website, www.european-athletics.com.
So it's, 7:30 local time. We're back under 30 degrees, 29 now. Can you feel that?
It's taken all day to get there. I think it was 30 degrees by 9 o'clock this morning.
I've been gasping all day, I can tell you. It is warm, it is warm. I've been going through so many of those bottles of water.
I think when we look at some of our athletes that are doubling in 2 events across a very hot week, I think that could be significant. We've got Geiger going in Division 3 in the steeplechase and the 5K. I think even if you're not doing a distance event, you're out there for a long, long time when you factor in your warm-up and the competition time. It's tough for the athletes this week.
100%. So Malukin of Ukraine going into this with a perfect record at 5:40. So speeding that runway, plants the pole, up he goes, but not over. Comes smashing down, clattering from side to side. So yes, a blemish on what was a perfect scorecard, and a similar situation that Ivan Horvat of Croatia finds himself in. These two have generally been going up through the competition hand in hand, metaphorically. Eirik Hammer, as a result, has stayed in, even though he hasn't had as many first-time clearances, but he has a chance to take maximum points for Estonia. They're all above the 5:10 of Alexander Auer of Austria from the 3rd division this morning. Some rather serious faces on the coaches there, just hoping that their athletes can muster what they need to get over at this new height of 5:40, and as you can see, no one has managed to do that just yet. So how does this height of 5:40 compare to lifetime bests? Well, for Hammer, 5:61 this year. Hammer got that all wrong, unfortunately. Didn't get up to that 12 o'clock position. One more go for him. You can see there, season's best. He had managed 5:24 previously. So, start list for the women's 100A race, which is coming right up. So let's take a look along this lineup, with Matilda Ukramer of Denmark right on the inside, and part of an exciting crop of young Danish sprinters who are improving all the time. In a cast-off European Outdoor 200 medalist. They got a 4x1 national record at the World Champs last year in Eugene. Ivana Ilic, another excellent young talent, European Under-20 silver medalist. Patricia van der Beken, a smile for her, a fantastic national record, 11.02 in Germany just last weekend. Boglaka Takac hoping to continue Hungary's good form today, European Under-18 silver medalist from 5 years ago. Monika Vajgertova, her lifetime best in Austria this month, 11.41. So yeah, a few tenths separating them from van der Beken's new breakthrough. Ulme Vöro of Estonia. So the national indoor champ, she took a 660 indeed, and 200 double. And then Olivia Fotopoulou of Cyprus, last year's Balkan indoor champion, 11.37 at best. Big smiles for Shindia Buksha of Latvia. So her big achievement was winning the European Under-23s in 2019. That was over the longest sprint, tends to be her better event, over 200 metres. National record from 11:29 from 5 years ago, so hasn't kicked on perhaps as much as she would have liked since then. Kramer on the inside then. Ilic, Van der Weyken, such an impressive time last Saturday. Takac, Vaigotova, Voro, Fotopoulou and Buksha, a women's 100 metre A race. So surely Van der Weyken going to take huge confidence into this. Look at her just leading at the moment. Takac is also going well, as is Ilic, but Van der Weyken comes through in 11.24 seconds, which is similar to her old lifetime best. In fact, her PB was 11:50 2 years ago. And what a few months this young athlete from Luxembourg is having. In fact, our first stream of the year on the European Athletics channels was in Luxembourg, and she was the young stars there saying, what a great opportunity this is for me to have everyone coming to my home country. And now she's here at the European Athletics Team Championships and looks to be in superb form.
Great race there from Van der Weyken, put it all together very well. And when you come in ranked highest, there's pressure on you there. And Van der Weyken didn't have it all her own way. She might not have been aware of Olivia Fotopoulou of Cyprus, with Fotopoulou being all the way over in lane 8, but the Cypriot was having a phenomenal run, just dipping Takac for the second place and getting a new personal best to boot for Cyprus. Fotopoulou, yes, good dip for the line there as well.
Absolutely, it was very, very close to that second place, but I don't think it's any disrespect to say Luxembourg and Cyprus 1-2. That's really strong representation for them. Especially they're trying to avoid relegation as well, as things stand in the overall team table. That'll be a really important handful of points.
It makes life very interesting as far as the team standings are concerned in the lower half of the division.
And here's the full confirmed result. So a tenth of a second between the top two. Fotopoulou improves 11:37 to 11:34 is now her fastest ever time. Another top three for Hungary, and that's generally what it's about, isn't it? If you can't win the event, then do at least try and be among the first few, as we've been saying.
Well, Fotopoulou there, doing very well with the personal best. That was the full rundown of the results. As we now look at Melikin in the pole vault.
Yes, so that first X next to his name, oh goodness me, had the height, had the potential there, 100%, and no question as to why he's frustrated. And is the Ukrainian coach too. It's very hard to separate these athletes at 5 metres 30, and as we were saying, capable of higher as well. 570 is his lifetime best. 550 outdoors this year, 2 centimetres higher indoors earlier in the year for the former world under-18 silver medalist. So look at the standings overall, and no surprise to see Hungary still with a decent lead. We know Ukraine have some excellent athletes to come, including Marina Bekromanchuk, Mihailo Kokan as well in the hammer. Just looking to see, be interesting on that second page what it's done to Luxembourg. Okay, so there was still quite a gap at the bottom, but Cyprus, that certainly helped them be on the first page inside that top 10 there. So pole vault going on in the field. We've obviously got the men's 100. Horvat goes on with his final attempt, but he is remaining in the competition after a terrific last gasp clearance there. So yeah, 540 has proved really tricky for these men.
Well, that looks like he doesn't even quite know how he did that. I'll wait to see the replay. Took the top off his pole, and whether that indicates he was using every last inch of it He's absolutely delighted, but might have to change implements if that was what happened, if he had to push all the way off the top and he's not got any extra height there. As the bar goes up with him all on his own, he might have to change his equipment around.
Yeah, let's have a look. So waiting patiently for this pole to bend up nicely over it and remained clear throughout. And then gravity does its thing. It's great to see that celebration for one clear. Sometimes you see that determined face to just get on with the next height. But I always compare it to volleyball when they celebrate absolutely every point. You know, it's the other end of the spectrum. Okay, so Malikin now has to respond and to basically the exact same. And don't forget, Erik Hammer is still in this competition. Estonian, but Malukin from Ukraine, and he says, whatever you can do, I can do too. Well, it really is a confidence event, the pole vault. It's something that many wouldn't even attempt, but you have to have so much faith in your athleticism, in that gymnastic ability to do so much inside a few seconds. As we slow it down here very conveniently, of course, to show you everything that happens, but it's taking pace in real time much faster. Celebrates on his way down with kit fluttering about and chain bouncing, almost coming off and over his head.
I'm just wondering whether Malikin's been suffering from a few back problems. As you can see there, he is wearing back support.
Interesting, which you don't really often see in the pole vault. In heavy throws, yes.
Just as his vest rides up, it was showing his back support there that he's got under his singlet. I mean, he has been having problems. He doesn't look in any noticeable discomfort, but as you say, I mean, we don't see, maybe javelin throwers, yes, and sometimes discus throwers, but we don't see that sort of back support usually being worn by pole vaulters.
It's such an athletic event. And you look at having to be the all-round athlete. People love to talk about what's the hardest event in athletics, and is it 4 hurdles? But pole vault's got to be up there in terms of just raw athleticism you have to bring to an event. It's like you said, Alex, it's closer to gymnastics than the rest of track and field, really. Yeah,
and it's no coincidence that people often come from a gymnastics background, like the Swiss athlete Nicole Buchler and others. So this new height of 5:45, we're now moving up in smaller increments. Horvath now just has to take that confidence, that keyword we mentioned, into his next height, potentially changing up to larger poles as well, but first time failure. All these conversations that are going on kind of semi behind the scenes as well. What pole do I use? Do I change anything else? You have to be able to really command the environment around you to get everything out of it. Go over at the right times. We saw earlier on when it was so hot, there was the gazebo shelter out, and athletes were going under it until the last possible sort of moment to then come out, then pick up your pole, go through that routine, as you see here with the powder as well.
So just 2 track races left here on the first day of the European Athletics Team Championships, the men's 100B and A finals, and this men's pole vault is the last field action to get wrapped up. Just 2 athletes left in it. Let's hope they get an extra height and they stay out there longer. We could be moving towards the conclusion of day 1.
So I'll just tell you, by the way, that in the other group, no, we haven't necessarily seen it, but Alan Cherney, the best with 490. Obviously, it doesn't figure that high in the overall standings, but just to mention where things got to in that other group. Horvat, no, just didn't quite have it. I wonder whether that's him done for this evening. There was something that you commented on it, Hannah, that third time clearance at 5:40. It was almost as though, oh wow, you know, that is me for today. That is, I have achieved everything of my potential in this session. Obviously he's going to have a go then at 5:45, but just doesn't quite feel it at this point.
It's a balance of your mental and your emotional energy as you move through these vertical jumps. It's you have to measure. I've heard athletes talk about having to measure their celebration as well, because it's hard to come back from that. You know, you're so delighted with a 5:40, and then if you fail your first attempt at 5:45, you've put yourself on a roller coaster, and that can be quite even more draining than just going through the competition.
Yeah, but earlier on, when athletes sort of pulled out of the competition after one failure, it was almost like they were in a decathlon and they thought, well, I've got enough points. I wonder whether there was like, I've got a good helpful of points was part of it. No idea.
No, absolutely. So penultimate track race here on the first day of this European Athletics Team Championships. It's the men's 100 metre B race. So Markus Fuchs of Austria win Division 3 this morning in 10:36. We could have a very competitive race here in Division 2. This is the first of the two heats. Basitic of Croatia goes in lane 1. He was just 16 years old. Hristo Iliev of Bulgaria, another teenager, 18, new personal best, 10:58 this year. Cristian Ruban of Romania goes in lane 4. He's a national champion as part of his relay squad. That will be his club side. Maybe we'll see him in the 4x1 later on in the programme. Stavros Avokostino of Cyprus goes in lane 5, three-time national champion. And lane 6 is Lithuania's Kristopas Sakauskas. He's also very handy 200 metre runner, set a personal best of 21:22 this season over the longer sprint. Oskars Grava of Latvia goes in lane 7, 10:51 lifetime best this season. From Moldova, Ian George Veru, another athlete that probably more likely to see him over a 200, but he's very accomplished over 100 as well. Completing the lineup in lane 9, Paul Bedane of Luxembourg. It's a national best performance for 50 metres indoors. Let's watch out for a lightning fast start for the Luxembourg athlete. Hristo Iliev of Bulgaria in lane 3. It's one of the fastest times. He could have a tight battle with Oskars Grava of Latvia in lane 7. It's a very good start from Iliev of Bulgaria in lane 3. The 18-year-old trying to get the jump on the rest of the field, but they're starting to build their momentum. It's very tight on the line. Oskars Grava of Latvia perhaps using that 200 metre strength in the closing stages there. I think I saw one or two men celebrate. Clock hasn't stopped on the screen. Oskars Grava might have been a very well timed. I think does Bedane think he got through for second? Camera pausing on Ruban. That is too tight to call, but it was a fantastic start from Iliev of Bulgaria. And he put the pressure on the rest of the men outside him, but they did respond in the closing stages. You can see almost 4 men totally off the line. Nice dip from Avokostino of Cyprus. The camera for the moment focusing on Ruban of Romania. I'm not convinced.
No, very tight indeed on the line. I'm going to slightly plump, having seen 3 replays now on Grava. He's not in this camera shot, but he does come through very well over the final 40 metres. And I think he might just have got up there, as we can see there. But it is very, very tight indeed between the first 4 men across the line.
It's a day like that and you're glad you're not an official, isn't it?
Well, they do. They've got the advantage of the technology, at least.
No, but that was very, very tight on the line. I think there's going to be a few people disappointed if they didn't. You're going to be biased there. Whichever side of the track you watch that from, you're going to have your winner.
Yeah, I mean, I thought obviously Ilyav got the best start, but there were some brilliant reactions there generally, and it's going to be very, very close on times. We're trying to separate these guys in the pole vault on heights, and 2 failures at 5:45 for Horvat then, and we just wondered whether he'd had enough, whether he was going to have a go. It looks like Malakin might have passed at 5:45 and is going up to 5:50.
Well, after all your comments about Horvat and actually looking as though he'd had it for the day after clearing 5:40, I was actually just looking very quickly, and he's been struggling a little bit with injuries over the course of the last few years. Ever since 2:18, when he did the Croatian record at 5:71, he's never been quite at the same level again. I'm just wondering whether he's just conserving his energies for another day as we look at Malakin bring the bar down with his first attempt at 5:50.
But in any case, was it really worth passing at 5:45 without attempting it when it looks like your opponent, is kind of maybe done? I suppose just looking, they had an equal record up to that point.
Well, it is a bit of a gamble. Maybe he thinks that there's something not quite right. I've seen that once or twice. To be honest, the only way we'd know would be to get down to the mix zone and have a quick word with him. But so it is speculation. I will advise you of that. But that's just my sort of feeling.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't sure why there was so much passing this morning. We wondered whether it could be the athletes just wanted to go up in higher increments as they went through.
Malakin there that was a decent first attempt. It was messy, it was a bit all over the place. He didn't stay very streamlined, but when you look at the absolute height, I think it's possible.
Certainly seems to have come into this competition with plenty of confidence, does Malakin. World Under 18 silver medalist in 2015, 5:70 at best, and 5:52 this year. So he's trying to equal his outdoor season's best right now.
Result of that Heat B, Christian Roybon got the nod in the end, 10:62, exactly the same time as Avagostino. And Oscar Grava, my winner from where I was sat, 10:63. What do I know? Ilyav, exactly the same time, 10:63. Could not have been closer in that opening heat.
2 second places for Cyprus. Well, we've still got the race to come. A race.
Well, Cyprus gradually clawing themselves out of relegation trouble. Although, as I say, it's got 2 more evenings of competition in the second division to go. They've got a smattering of other stars as well who could get the points, but they're going to struggle in a few events.
Also should point out that some 4 men from this morning's third division, incidentally, were faster. So I think when you factor in the A race, there'll be practically the whole field may well be faster than 10:6. Okay, Malakin, second attempt, 5:50. So, the Ukrainian, he has cleared this height already this season. With support from his compatriots and others, including fellow competitors watching on here. So the final field action of the night. Malikin, Ukraine, 550, second attempt in this pole vault competition. Plants the pole high, but this time it was his knee, it was his toe before.
I'd say that was even closer than, well, it was tidier than his first attempt, but that was a possible. There is the height there. He's just got to navigate that. Getting upside down and getting over the bar as far as quickly as possible. The small matter of wriggling your body over the bar.
Still think he didn't necessarily need to pass at 5:45.
So now the very last action on the track on this, the first evening of the Silesia 2023 European Athletics Team Championships. It's the Division 2 men's 100 metres A race. And the 8 men are already out there. Here's Kolbein Hobor Gunnarsson, 12 times national champion at 100 metres and 200 metres. Best of 10:51 just 2 weeks ago. Tobias Larsson. So best known as a 200 metre runner. Jan Volko, Slovak record holder, former European indoor 60 metre champion. Best of 10:13, not quite as sharp as that at the moment. This is Kurin Protopotnik of Slovenia, has improved to 10:27 this year, just 20 years of age. Nazarov, well, this man is sharp. It was only a few days ago that he ran an Estonian record of 10:18. Andrei Vasilev. Well, Ukraine have been piling up the points in the last few events. Can Vasilev add to that success story at the end of day one? 10:34 his best. Alexa Kinanovic of Serbia, 10:40 man at best. And on the outside, Bensiboros of Hungary, another 10:40 man. So this could be a very evenly matched race between Volkov, lane 4, Kurin Potapotnik, 5, Nazarov, for my money, possibly the slight favourite in lane 6. And in lane 7, Vasiliev, the Ukrainian. To complete the lineup as they settle down is Gunnarsson of Iceland in lane 1. Or lane 2, I should say, on the inside. Larsson, Denmark, 3. Volkov, 4. Kurin Potapotnik, 5. Slovenia. Nazarov, Estonia, 6. Vasiliev, Ukraine, 7. Kijanovic, Serbia, 8. And on the outside, Boris of Hungary. The very last event on the track, the men's 100 metres. And Volkov, as usual, has his flying start. Now Nazarov starting to get into his running. Volkov still doing very well at this stage. And it's Volkov in front. Volkov holding his form. And the Slovak sprinter, the former 60-metre indoor champion, holds off Nazarov, the man in form. Volkov comes through for a season's best of 10:24. Maximum points to Slovak Republic. And that will help them in their battle to avoid relegation. Just behind him, Nazarov of Estonia, 10:29. Kurin Protopotnik, 10:31. Vasiliev, just outside his personal best, 10:41. That race went to form, but Volkov takes maximum points.
Yeah, two excellent 60-metre runners, first and second, Volko and Nazarov. And also two nations that will feel as though they really needed a big handful of points as well. We haven't seen too much Slovakian or Estonian success thus far.
It's a really nice start from Volko, and then he was under pressure. It was a good start, but not a phenomenal start. But he's so used to this, just having to maintain that momentum and having to fight all the way to the line. It will be nothing unfamiliar for Jan Volko, and he did it absolutely perfectly. Karl-Erik Nazarov very nearly pulled it off, but those two, like you guys have said, just those 60-metre specialists who just get a tremendous start and then do everything you can to hold on, and they both executed that really well.
Well, I love to see Volko's reaction time, because that was what won him the race, as Nazarov closed him down in the final few metres. Volkov still had enough to spare. There's confirmation of the results. Volko of Slovak Republic 10.24, Nazarov Estonia 10.29, Kurin Protopopnik of Slovenia 10.34. That's the 1-2-3 in the men's 100 metres. Compiled results, and the B race winner Cristian Roban down in 8th place for Romania, just edging into the top 8. But that was really much a Jan Volko display. Nicely done from the compact, dynamic former 60 metres European indoor champion.
So Vladislav Malekin had those 2 attempts at 550, didn't make it over, and it looks like our top 2 have identical records. So joint winners it would appear to be, like we had at the Olympic Games, of course, in Tokyo. As you can see there, 540 for the pair of them. They cleared that at the 3rd attempt both, and before that they both had perfect scorecards.
Yes, we're just waiting for the computer to factor in those last 2 events, the pole vault on the men's 100 metres, and we'll give you the team standings.
Has been a great end to day 1 here at the European Team Championships, and Hungary at the moment very much in the driving seat. A whole host of top 3s, highlighted by Molnar winning the men's 400 metres, maybe Anita Marton rolling back the clock and winning the women's shot put. Ukraine are on the charge though. We expect them to be very strong over the next couple of days with the likes of Yaroslava Mahuchik, Marina Bekma-Romanchuk, to name but a few. And the battle goes on to stay in this Division 2 of the European Team Championships. Serbia, Moldova and Luxembourg will be desperate to accumulate as many points as they can tomorrow. And Thursday, we'll be back tomorrow morning with action from Division 3 on their middle day, before returning to Division 2 in the evening, and we'll wrap up those 2 divisions on Thursday before we turn our attention to Division 1, which will take place on Friday, Saturday and Sunday night here in the Stadium Slaski. We very much hope you've enjoyed the coverage today from this opening day, and we hope that you stay with us for the rest of the week.
I'm an AI representation of commentator Hannah England with a look back at Division 2 action on the first day of the European Athletics Team Championships. There was a dramatic finale to the first race on the track on Tuesday evening, as Bulgaria's Deva Maria Dragieva finished strongly to win in a new best of 53.36 in the 400 metres. Denmark's Anna Obake Langer led going into the home straight, but fell with 50 metres to go, finishing 8th in a race which saw 4 athletes set personal bests. And it was a huge lifetime best for Romania's Andrea Miklos, who won the women's 400 metres Heat A in 50.67. That's her best 400 metres by over a second, and will take some beating even by the Division 1 athletes. What a performance by Miklos. In 3rd place, Janka Molnar sets a new Hungarian under-23 record. former world indoor champion Anita Martin steadily progressed throughout the shot put competition, and her final round throw of 17 metres 74 was enough to claim the maximum 16 points for Hungary. Moldova's Dimitriana Bezede finished second with her first throw of 17 metres 27, with Iceland's Erna Solé Gunnarsdóttir taking third. It was another win for Romania as European champion Bianca Gelber easily took the women's hammer with her second round effort of 72 metres 97. In sixth, Cypriot Valentina Sava threw a world under-20 lead with 65 metres 47. That bodes well for the European under-18 champion, who will be eligible to compete at the European Athletics Under-20 Championships in Jerusalem in August. The men's 400 metres B heat saw 5 athletes set personal bests, including the winner, Arturs Pastors of Latvia. In the second heat, winner Attila Molnar dipped the fast-finishing Swede Alexander Pohorilko 45.30 to 45.31, another win for the Hungarian team. In third, Mihai Sorindringo set a big lifetime best and Romanian under-23 record of 45.76. Could we see a rematch between Molnar and Dringo at next month's European Athletics Under-23 Championships? In the women's 5,000 metres, Slovenia's Klara Lukan set a fast pace, but Latvia's Agat Korn was too strong in the end and won by 18 seconds. A fine performance from the 18-year-old and 2021 European Athletics Under-20 Championship silver medalist. It was a big personal best in the men's 800 metres B heat for the 2021 Bulgarian decathlon champion, Ivan Ivanov, who went to the front early and was rewarded with a big lifetime best. At just 21, he's another athlete who will be eligible for next month's European Athletics Under-23 Championships in Espoo, Finland. And it was almost another win for Hungary in the men's 800 metres, as Croatia's Marino Bludek and Hungary's Daniel Haller, who have season's bests of 146.38 and 146.56 respectively, were awarded the same time, with Bludek just holding off the fast-finishing Haller to deprive Hungary of maximum points. In the men's 3,000 metre steeplechase, former European under-23 champion Istvan Palkovic front-ran his way to maximum points once again for Hungary. After finishing third 2 years ago, he goes 2 better this time. We spoke to him in the mix zone after the competition.
I no plan today because my time is the best, and it's today it's very hot and wet, and and this is the third team championship, and this is the first win in the championship.
Talk us through what goes through your mind every time you approach a barrier.
It is hits my knee. Yeah, it's very bad because the last race I hit. Yeah.
Does it make you feel nervous that when you approach the barrier, are you afraid to fall, or you are confident they're just going to go over it?
No, I would over it and go.
Talking about this being a team event, what do you think, what are the chances of Hungary winning the second division? Maybe if you could put it from a number from 1 to 10, what would you say the chances are?
Yeah, it is chance for my Hungarian team because we're very strong in this year because Budapest World Championship.
I'm an AI version of commentator Hannah England with a review of the first evening of the European Athletics Team Championships. It was a dominant display from Ukraine's Vladislav Shepeliev to win the men's triple jump with a European under-23 leading distance of 16.67. Another athlete to potentially watch out for in the European Athletics Under-23 Championships next month. Lisa Brix Pedersen extended her lead in the final round with a throw of 59.20 to win an exciting women's discus competition from Lithuania's Ieva Zarankait and Croatia's Maria Tolj. Pedersen won silver at last year's European Throwing Cup, but went 1 better today. The women's 100 metres A heat went to the form book, with Patricia van der Weken taking the win for Luxembourg from Cypriot Olivia Fotopoulou, with a lifetime best of 11.34. 18-year-old Ukrainian Diana Honcharenko won the women's 100 metres B heat in a lifetime best of 11.55. Also a shout out to Vita Penezic in 6th place at just 16 years old. It was a blanket finish in the men's 100 metre B heat. Just 100th of a second separated the first 4 athletes, with Romania's Christian Roiban getting the nod from the judges on this occasion. There are plenty of ways to keep across the latest news from these team championships. You'll find live results, a live blog and live commentary right here on the European Athletics website. And do join us from just before 10 a.m. Central European time for more action from Division 3.